The first try of the Magic Weekend is a London try. He's got support, and Whitehead holds on, and Catalan are back in front.
All these deadlines in my mind.
Again, it's Brown, a long ball, and coming the first try it is. The doctor has received the prescription he wanted. And Reece Humphrey got the pace. You bet he has.
I'm on my way, soon be moving on my way. Leave a little light on.
And that is a second Hulkingston Rovers try. Sure, what an end to the first 40 minutes. And they will round things off with a try for Josh Hodgson.
And Green scores a magnificent try. Absolutely magnificent. And Green gets away. McAlora! It's day 2 of the 2014 Super League Magic Weekend, and if it's half as good as what we've just seen from day 1, there will be few complaints. 3 games coming up. Welcome to the home of Manchester City, the newly crowned Premier League champions. And this is how things shaped up yesterday in front of a record crowd for a single day at this unique event. 35 tries scored yesterday. Catalan eventually getting the better of London, but only just. Widnes claiming their first Magic Weekend win at the 3rd attempt against Salford. Hull KR won the 222nd Big City Derby and maintained a proud record of 5 wins from 6 at the Magic against the Black and Whites. And it was a brilliant end to an epic day when Wigan claimed the win against the league leaders. It all means that Wigan have closed the gap on the Leeds Rhinos at the top of the table. Castleford are 2 points adrift of Wigan in 4th. Widnes are 5th, 2 points better off than Huddersfield. Warrington and Hulkingston Rovers complete the top 8. The Catalan Dragons are breathing down their necks though. Hull are now 10th, Salford 11th, Wakefield next, and then it's an 8-point gap to the bottom 2, Bradford and London. Today we have 3 more matches with lots to live up to, and the odds are that they will. We'll start off with a feisty Yorkshire derby between Wakefield and Castleford. Huddersfield Bradford come next. These two go head-to-head for the 2nd year in a row at the Magic. And to round off proceedings, Warrington meets St Helens. The Saints now with the chance to go top of the table after Leeds' defeat last night. Well, everyone's on their way into the Etihad Stadium here in Manchester, hoping that it can be as good as it was yesterday. Can it be? Well, of course it can. And the Castleford Tigers are in here already in numbers. And so too the Wakefield Trinity Wildcat supporters, sitting side by side, notice, in rugby league. No nonsense of crowd segregation in this sport, and it's Castleford and Wakefield who will kick day 2 off in just a few minutes' time. And this spring festival of rugby league really did reach new heights yesterday. We had a record crowd for the opening day. We had 4 fantastic games. Today we've got 3 more games. We have 6 teams, and all under this one, I was going to say roof, but there is no roof at the Etihad Stadium, but there is just one venue for all of the teams to play in today. And I'm delighted to say that I'm joined in the studio today by Jamie Peacock, MBE, a rugby league legend, a Leeds Rhinos legend, a Bradford Bulls legend. I needn't say anymore, but a lot of people, Jamie, will be saying it's miraculous that you are here today after what you went through last night. That was a bruising game against Wigan. You must be aching from head to toe.
Yeah, it was. It was a brutal game to play in. I suppose I love my job being a rugby league player, but the 2 things I don't like about it is losing and how I feel after a game, and I feel in both them today. And I was trying to think on the way here to put in a context for it a little bit about how I feel, and I think I feel like I've fallen down 10 flights of stairs. I'm a bit hungover, I've got a bit of jet lag, a bit of flu, I've probably been in a couple of car crashes as well, so I am feeling a bit today, but I'm glad to be here again. What's going to be a great day.
Well, it's our pleasure to have you, and thanks for getting up early and getting across here and joining us, because I know you probably had a lot better things to do. But you're right, there are some great games coming up. But before we look at that, let's just look back to a key moment in last night's match between you and Wigan. I mean, look at that. You took that ball in. It was after a right muzzle that went off. What on earth were you doing taking the ball in first man?
Well, that's my job really, I suppose, one of the older players. I think it's a great sight to see. I think we've just seen 26 players absolutely committed to the cause, you know, wanting to win no matter what it takes, and refusing to yield to the others. And I thought it was a great end to a great day yesterday, our game.
It was. The touch judges and the referee all got involved as well. I mean, and we all held our breath wondering what was going to go on. And there were some things that were a little bit mischievous at times, maybe, but did Wigan shake you to the core? Because I've never seen Leeds knocked out of your stride so much.
I think they came out and played really well. They had great intensity. I thought the resolve they showed really early on in their defence to hold us out was difficult for us to gain ground, and it felt like every time we carried the ball yesterday there was 3 or 4 red and white shirts there, and I think they fully deserved their win. They showed that if you use, you know, certain values like grit and resolve and commitment, you can overcome a lack of star players, and they certainly did that yesterday, and I think they fully justified being winners.
Well, I know that you're hurting both mentally and physically today, there's no doubt about that. But, you know, I remember when this tournament, this Magic Weekend was first mooted, you weren't a big fan, but you've come right round the other way now, haven't you?
Yeah, this game's grown. I think it's a great event within the Rugby League calendar. The fans are really behind. You saw the fans yesterday, and it was fantastic running out there. You felt like you was in a final. It felt like it was more than 2 points at stake, and the players are fully into it, and the fans as well. And it's a great occasion now within the Rugby League calendar.
It is indeed, and I'm sure we've got more to come here today. But you know, before we look ahead to today's programme, let's look back to the matches that we saw yesterday. And if you remember, the first game up was between the London Broncos and the Catalan Dragons, and Phil Clark is going to look back at this one with us now. Phil, everyone was saying this was the moment for London to get their first win of the season. It wasn't to be, was it?
No, I think London were the most unlucky side of day one, but they do start to look like a Super League side. I thought they had better timing with their attack, and some of the defence had some awesome hits in it as well. You know, they did manage to get the first try of the Magic Weekend when Mason Caton-Brown went over. They defended well up for the first 20 minutes to hold out the Catalan Dragons and deserved to be ahead at 6 points to 0. And they were a touch unlucky with this kick went up close to their own try line, which they'd held out for 6 plays, but Vincent Depoe's strength took him over from close range. And they extended that lead just before half-time. This was perhaps a crucial play here, as Ben Pomeroy gets the ball out wide on the right, takes the ball through. He's attempting to pass the ball backwards, but it bounces off the chest of a London player and into the arms in front of Elliot Whitehead in the in-goal area. That gave them a lead at half-time, which was extended early in the second half when Jeff Lima showed his power to crash over from close range, and perhaps with the benefit of doubt, the video referee awarded the try. 18 points to 6 at that stage. It was Mason Caton-Brown. He started the ceremony off with his try. Look at the power he shows here, the leg drive and determination to help London get back into the game. They're 6 points behind at this stage. And some of the London supporters got excited here when shortly following this, they were able to crash over. James Greenwood made it 18 points all. They were in the final quarter and really had a chance of starting off the Magic with some success. But perhaps the best player for the French side, Elliot Whitehead, created and scored the try, which proved to be the crucial play of the game. That was converted. They had a 6-point gap, and yet London would never die. Josh Drinkwater in the final 10 minutes took the ball and went at the line, brought the kick round to try and make it easier. He's actually penalised, and Morgan Escray put on report for that late challenge, but Drinkwater couldn't add the conversion, and they lost by just the 2 points.
Yes, so near yet so far for the London Broncos. Catalan Dragons winning by 24 points to 22. Caton-Brown with a couple of tries, Greenwood and Drinkwater. How on earth Drinkwater didn't convert his own, only he will know, but the pressure of the situation, obviously. He only kicked 3. Catalan Dragons 4 tries themselves. Whitehead got 2, Duport and Lima and Bosque with the golden boot, and so the Catalan Dragons won by 24 points to 22. So that was game 1. We move on now to game 2, and this featured Widnes and the Salford Red Devils. Widnes looking for their first ever win at the Magic. And Salford, well, with all the big money spent by Dr. Marwan Kukash, they're looking to get away from the bottom of the table. Paul Cullen is going to review this one for us now. Paul, when you think about it, what a win this was for Widnes, because they were disrupted by the fact that they had Danny Craven carried off the field on the stretcher inside the first minute. They lost McGrath Lulawai late on, and they really came up with the goods, didn't they?
They did, and John Clark left the field. It's a very important part of the game too as well, Eddie. It was the first Magic win for the Vikings, and it was a fantastic game for Man, an 11-try spectacular. The Vikings opened up the scoring very early on in the game. Paddy Flynn, a championship academy product of the Widnes Vikings, scores the opening try. He did finish the scoring later on as well. We'll have a good look at that. But then they were hit back by the Salford Red Devils. Power and pace, and just look at this man, Junior Sow, takes two Widnes Vikings over in the corner. And for me, and also to the delight of the good doctor, this was the period of the game that the Salford Red Devils really did need to assert their domination. Rangi Chase, Tompkins it was from dummy half. Look at the power and pace. Brilliant footwork from Rangi Chase, and that put the Red Devils in the lead. But the Widnes Vikings kept hitting back. Again, another Championship Academy product. Jack Owen scores on the left wing, and I thought Salford should have took control of the game at this point. Chris Dean it was who barged his way past Junior Sow to edge the Vikings back in front once more. And just before half-time, the Vikings trying to defend their own try line. Ashurst it was, 12-all it was at half-time. Matty Ashurst comes out in the second half to get the Red Devils back in front. But a very controversial pass from Kevin Brown. The Vikings played to the whistle. Beautiful kick through from Reece Hanbury. And Lloyd White, who started the play at dummy half in the absence of John Clark. Johnny on the spot to convert. Widnes did push the envelope a little bit too much. They did what the Red Devils were doing for most of that game, didn't really concentrate after scoring a try, and an absolutely peach of a play from Danny Williams. That takes some scoring at any level against anyone, picked up a loose ball and raced away. Not to be outdone, clash of heads from 97 metres away from the try line. Reece Hanbury, ball tucked away in the left arm. Greg Eden flaps away at the ankles, possibly could have stayed on his feet. And Reece Hanbury, we've seen him score so many tries like that for the Vikings since their return to Super League. The Red Devils forcing themselves back into the game. Beautiful pass. Francis Melly rounds two players to score in the corner, and you just thought at that point the Red Devils might just have enough. The Vikings not to be outdone. Paddy Flynn, who started the try-scoring spree for the Widnes Vikings, finishes off in the corner. And that was a great play there where Widnes pick up that first win back at Magic.
Yes, 30 points to 24. Flynn with 2, Owens, Dean, White, Hanbury, the try scorers for Widnes. Danny Tickle kicked 3 goals for the Salford Red Devils. Junior Sow, Rangi Chase, Ashurst, Williams and Melly. Mulaney kicked 2 goals, and they ran out. The winners did, the Widnes Vikings, 30 points to 24. It was billed as the battle between Kevin Brown and Rangi Chase, and I think at the end of the day, Kevin Brown just about shaded that. So how would we follow the Widnes match against Salford? Well, easy, with the big city derby, Hull Kingston Rovers against Hull FC, and this is Barry McDermott's match that he's going to look back on now. Barry, we saw the widest winning margin here, and maybe it had something to do with the fact that Hull had Jason Crooks sent off, but Rovers, they must love the Magic. They win here against Hull, it seems, every time they play.
Well, it's an outstanding game, Eddie, and started in the best way. Lots of ferocity, lots of passion on show, and everything that we can be proud of about our game was on show during this match. It was the Robins that got off to the best possible start. 3 tries very early on. Salter getting the first of his in the corner after some great lead-up play from the Robins. And again, the forwards right at the heart of this. The Robins were very agile and speedy in the middle, where there was strength and power on show from the FC. Leroy getting a try, second try on the board. Good build-up, nice offloads, nice reactions. Josh Hodgson, who was one of the stars, and his battle with Danny Houghton was one I really enjoyed. Travis Burns, one of the best players on the pitch, fed his half-back partner, Keating, who keeps his feet, gets the ball away, and Salter bags a brace in that game. Good show from the right centre, from the Robins. But Hull FC refused to give in. A good line from Hadley, a beautiful pass from one of the best players on the pitch, Westerman. Just sets up a lovely try. Nice interplay, nice line running. Kirk Yeaman again shows lots of composure. And Jamie Shaw, who picked up an injury in this game, managed to get back onto the pitch, but struggled a little bit. This was the red card, unfortunately for Jason Crooks. Right round the chops, he leaves the pitch, and FC could have been forgiven for capitulating, but they actually strengthened up, got stuck into this game. It was good game management. A try to Gardner in the corner, where Crooks should have been, incidentally, but this was my favourite try. Good piece of play. Danny Houghton right onto the pitch, shows one way, and Feka Palliasina, like a Greater Manchester double-decker bus, right over the top, slams the ball and gets FC back in the game. But this was where Travis Burns stepped up, just took control of the game. A couple of late tries to take it away from the black and whites. Jason Crooks again not there. Gardner getting his second try. And the Robins have beaten the black and whites 5 out of 6 times during the Magic fixture. And Josh Hodgson, lovely show and go, beautiful footwork, nice dancing feet, caps a fine individual performance off.
Yes, the widest winning margin of the first day. Hull Kingston Rovers 38, Hull FC 24, 2 each for Salter and Gardner, Laroya and Josh Hodgson. Travis Burns, so important to them all day, and he kicked 7 goals as well. Hull FC's tries from Hadley, Shaw, Houghton and big Feka Palliasina. Jacob Miller kicked the 4 goals, but the sending off to Jason Crooks obviously was a crucial factor in that match, and Hull Kingston Rovers picked up another victory. Well, we saw 3 crackers. Could the 4th live up to the pre-match billing as the marquee fixture of the day? You looked at the team sheets, you thought maybe not, because Wigan were weakened, Leeds were almost at full strength, having the luxury of picking Ben Jones-Bishop rather than Briscoe on the wing. Well, it doesn't all, of course, work out on paper. We're going to join Terry O'Connor to look at this one. Terry, this was an epic to the end of an epic day.
Eddie, it was an absolutely unbelievable game. It wasn't for the faint-hearted. It was the best game of the day. Ferocious defence from both sides. The skills in attack were absolutely brilliant. And as you say, that no one gave Wigan a chance, really, apart from the coach, Sean Wayne, and the 17 players that represented the Wigan club. Gelling just patting the ball forward. He regains it to score the opening try for the Wigan Warriors club. And they seem to grow in confidence, but you can never take your focus or your concentration away from the Leeds Rhinos side. As well as having the skill out wide, they've got the ferocious forwards in the middle of the park. But Wigan, they just seem to play going forward. Blake Green, he's had a huge season for them. He's a scrum half that likes to attack the line. Again, he goes to attack the line. The play wasn't on, and probably the MOM, the menace of the match, went to Mickey McLaurin. I thought he led from the front with Wigan. He seemed to get under the Leeds players' skins and seemed to really disrupt them. But Carl Ablett, you talk about players who are underrated and underrated. Carl Ablett is one of those players who's been exceptional for Leeds Rhinos every time he puts on a Leeds shirt. The ball goes from one side to the other. They're behind on the scoreboard, and then all of a sudden Carl Ablett comes up with a try that brings them back into the game. It's 18 points to 10, and that's Kevin Sinfield's first conversion that he kicks. And once the ball goes left, you think it's danger, because who's on the left? You've got Joel Moon and you've got Ryan Hall. The ball over the top to Ryan Hall, plays with very good shape. 18 points to 14, it's game on. Who's got the nerve to win this game? The ball goes up in the air, a clever kick from Kevin Sinfield. The ball goes forward from Joel Moon into Manfredi, and it goes upstairs to the video referee. And because the ball comes forward here and goes into the Wigan player, the video referee says that he lost the ball, and therefore that's why he disallowed the try. And that would have brought Leeds back into the game, locked it all up, and then it comes down to the conversion from Sinfield. So Brian McDermott had the squad
to go out there and win, but you've got to say, you look at Sean Wayne after the game, the proudest moment of his career, and that coach did the double last year.
Yeah, Sean Wayne saying before the match, if Wigan had won this one, it would have been their best win ever. Well, he got it, 18 points to 14. A thrilling game, good to watch. We've already heard from Jamie Peacock here today how tough it was to play in. Fantastic game. And that's the story of day one for you in just a few minutes. Well, we've got 3 more games, as I say, coming up here with a 12:30 kickoff, kicking us off with Wakefield against Castleford. Before that, we're going outside the stadium. Another glorious day here, sun streaming down from a cloudless sky. Brian Carney was in the fan zone yesterday. Brian, you're always looking to make new friends, aren't you?
I'm back here again, Eddie. You know, I love the limelight. Let me tell you, there's many Jamie Peacock's fans down here, and we found one. We're just going to get this man to sum up yesterday's game. How did you feel after the Leeds Rhinos lost?
I felt all right, but we've got to give Wigan a chance one day.
He was saying to me off camera, Jamie Peacock needs to have a go the next game he plays. And what about you? Who do you think is going to win between Wakefield and the Castleford Tigers?
Wakefield.
Wakefield, and what score?
24-30.
24-30. Give her a job on Sky Sports. And your favourite player?
Danny Kermond.
Danny Kermond. Okay, next game up, we got the Bradford Bulls against the Huddersfield Giants. Let me tell you, if the Bradford Bulls play with the same resilience as this young man, they're going to win every game for the rest of the season. Huddersfield are going to win, are they?
No chance.
Who's going to win and by how much?
Bulls will win 26-6.
26-6, and you say?
30-6.
30-6. Who's your favourite player?
Danny Brough.
Danny Brough. Okay, now look, we know we've all got committed rugby league fans here, but I bumped into a local man who came for a stroll on a Sunday morning, strolled past the stadium, and suddenly everybody wanted a photograph with him. He couldn't understand why, and now I think he's a rugby league fan. We're going to make our way through here and come and meet him. Look at this. Hello, Brian. It tells me he's a High Court judge. Sir, you just came out for a walk and you found yourself surrounded by fans today.
Absolutely, look at them all. By the way, are we having a collection for Bradford?
On a semi-serious note, who do you support?
Well, it's not Wigan. Castleford, through and through.
Okay, your favourite player and the score in the game today for your team?
Danny Fleming.
Danny Fleming?
Yes. Unfortunately, he's injured at the moment, so we won't be playing, but he's a cracking little youngster. And 2015.
2015. I'm hearing my ear. Where did I pick him up? You want to know what Terry O'Connor looks like in a Castleford jersey? Here you got it. Let's say a big cheer for rugby league in the fan zone. As we throw back to you, Eddie.
Fantastic, fantastic scenes outside. Brian, that's the glory, isn't it? I don't know whether you can hear me. We had a miscommunication with you this time yesterday. Are you there? You're listening?
Yes,
you're hearing?
sorry, Eddie. I thought I was done.
I'm just saying, that's the glory, that's the beauty of rugby league. Every colour of every jersey is amongst you, and it's
even better than that, Eddie.
It's
it's
great
even
fun.
better. The same families are split between Hull Kingston Rovers and Hull FC, between Bradford and Huddersfield, and they're all still friends with each other. I love it.
Hope they haven't asked you who you support just yet, but I'm sure that question is coming. Thanks, Brian. Thanks a lot. Okay, we've got a few minutes to talk to Jamie here about all of that. You almost had your head in your hands and your eyes covered when you were watching the defeat yesterday, but it was still a fantastic game and a great day. Can this live up to it, seriously? Can these 3 games we've got today live up to what we saw yesterday?
Yeah, definitely. I think the players are committed to that. I think if you look at the first game, that's a derby game, and obviously Castleford will want to come back from losing a couple of games. Then I look at the last game. The last game looks like a great game to me. St Helens against Warrington. I'm looking forward to that one. Myself, I want Warrington to win that one so we can stay top of the league.
First time you cheered for the Primrose Yellow and Blue then, eh?
I've cheered for them before. I've had some good friends play for Warrington before, so when they've been in a final and we've not been in there, I wanted them to win.
Okay, and your old club, of course, well, Lee said soonest mended about them at the minute, but you'd be desperate, I know, so that they get a win.
I think they got beat 50-0 on Sunday last week, and they'll be embarrassed by that performance, and hopefully we'll see the Bradford side that comes out that's beat Warrington, and Catalan's not the side that's been drubbed 50-0 the week before.
How do you feel about Bradford? You know, You were flipping burgers for them. You were putting your jersey on the line. Your grand final winners ring. All the boys were doing the same. And look what a mess they're in.
I just hope now this is the end of it. It seems like a saga that's gone on and gone on and gone on. I hope now there's some kind of stability. I think it's going to be difficult for them to stay up within Super League, but I hope now they can move on shoulder footing and progress and become a great name again back in Rugby League again.
We all hope that as well. We just saw the scenes inside the dressing rooms while we were talking there, Wakefield and Castleford. You know, this event normally picks up a hat-trick somewhere along the way. 35 tries yesterday, we didn't get one. We got a couple with 2. Who would you think might just get a hat-trick here today?
There'd be 2 men for me, really. I think Justin Carney for Castleford, he's been playing exceptionally well for them, and he likes to find his way to the try line. And in the final match, Joe Monaghan, I think he's a man for the big occasion. He's known to be able to find the try line, and I think he could come up with a hat-trick as well. OK,
and you diplomatically avoided Tommy Makinson, because if he comes with a hat-trick, you're off the top of the table.
No, he's every chance too, yeah. Now you mention him.
Good on you, Jamie. OK, there we go. So that's Jamie's view of what's to come, and, well, we know who they support, obviously, by the fact that the jerseys all belong to the Castleford Tigers. They're still streaming in. They're going to be streaming in all day because we're here with you until 7:30 tonight here on Sky Sports 1, and everyone is in tune and ready for a great festival day 2. So it's the Castleford Tigers up next against the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats, and getting ready for this behind the stadium, and the feisty Yorkshire Derby will kick us off. We'll be back with all the action next. It's day 2 in glorious sunshine of the First Utility Super League Magic weekend, and the first game up, it's a match a few weeks ago maybe would have been a bit easier to predict. Castleford were flying high, Wakefield struggling, but now the Wildcats have won back-to-back games in the Super League, while the Tigers have lost 2 in a row. The 5th time they've met at the Magic, it's 2 wins apiece so far. Right, let's just have a look at where these 2 sides are in the table. The Castleford Tigers are 4th, of course, Wakefield 3rd bottom, but there's a vital 8-point gap between them and the 2 relegation places for Bradford and London. So a win here today, I wouldn't say they would be safe, Wakefield, at this stage of the season, but they'd be well on the way to being so. This is the way the 2 sides will line up then. And Wakefield, first of all, they've got Jared Samet at full-back, then Richie Mathers is on the wing, Dean Collis, Lucas Walshaw in the centres, Chris Riley on loan from Warrington on the other flank. Paul Sykes and Harry Syker, they are the halfbacks. Up front for Wakefield, Scott Anderson, Paul McShane and Nick Scruton. Matt Ryan, Danny Kermond, who is the captain, and Daniel Smith. And on the interchange bench for the Wildcats, Peter Godinay, Danny Washbrook, Richard Moore and Jacob Furbank. And the coach, of course, is Richard Agar. Now, the Castleford Tigers. Jordan Tansey at fullback. He knows what it's like to score a try at the Magic, doesn't he? Remember him all those years ago? Dixon, he managed a hat-trick in this event last year. Webster, Michael Shenton's the skipper. Justin Carney, that is Jamie Peacock's tip for a hat-trick. We'll see. Mark Sneed and Liam Finn. The forward pack, Andy Lynch, Darryl Clark, Craig Hubie, Oliver Holmes, Weller Huraki and Grant Millington. And the bench for the Tigers, Mariano, Wielden, Ellis and Lee Jewett, and the coach is Darryl Powell. So Wakefield ready for this challenge that lies ahead against the Castleford Tigers. Castleford, of course, looking upwards rather than looking down. It has been a magnificent season for Darryl Powell and this particular group of players, led by Michael Shenton, who really has got back to his best in 2014. Out they come into the sunshine, another glorious, glorious day. The gods are smiling on rugby league in 2014. It's always nice at the Magic. It's always good weather. And if you're watching at home and you're thinking of barbecuing, well, mark the dates down in the calendar when Magic is on, because the sun never fails to shine. Right, let's go to the commentators. Terry O'Connor, Tony Ray, Phil Clark, they're all alongside Rod Studd.
Thanks, Eddie. What better way to spend a Sunday afternoon than basking in the sunshine at the Etihad, watching 6 top-class Super League teams in 3 matches. This is the 5th Magic meeting between Castleford and Wakefield. 2 wins apiece in the previous 4, which have averaged 65 points a game. It seems that tries will come guaranteed in this high noon shootout, Phil Clark.
That's right, yeah. They met about a month ago as well in Super League. It ended on that occasion 8 tries to 4. Castleford far too strong. But I don't think that'll be the case here. If anything, I fancy Wakefield to go into this game. I've tipped them on the Sky Sports website, and I know that the form they've played for the last 2 weeks will give them a great chance of beating the high-flying Tigers.
Yeah, 2 wins on the trot for Wakefield and 2 wins on the road too at Widnes and Hull FC, whereas Castleford have lost their last 2 games, albeit narrowly by a single point at Huddersfield, and then 22-14 at home to the Leeds Rhinos, who still top the Super League, still at the Super League summit, although they can be knocked off later on today by St Helens if they can get the job done against Warrington Wolves. Really is superb conditions, it could not be better. Under pressure kick, getting it away is Harry Syker, straight down the throat of Jordan Tansey, who sets off on a run in the sun and is taken down by 3 Wakefield Wildcats.
Well, it's a chance, a special stage for all of these players to play here in Manchester. Mid-season, glorious conditions, a fantastic surface to play on. The groundsman and his staff have done a great job overnight. Can hardly tell that there were 4 games of rugby league played on this yesterday. Players like Justin Carney in possession now, well, this is a dream scenario here. Wide, fast track, the ball in hand. We should get to see some attacking brilliance from both of these teams.
Carney is just like a wrecking ball, almost impossible to put down. Has scored 17 tries in all competitions. That puts him away behind the country's leading try scorer, Ryan Brierley of Leeds Centurions, who's got 24 already in an astonishing unbeaten run for the Leeds Centurions in the Championship.
Well, they've gone end for end, having the control in the sets, no errors. I think a tremendous focus. Playing a slightly earlier game than these guys would normally play, obviously, just after lunchtime. More often they play after late afternoon or evening matches. They've had to get up earlier, get prepared, and make sure that from the start of this match, their focus is as sharp as the 4 teams who played and won yesterday.
McShane's heading off on a little run that came to the club from the Leeds Rhinos in the off-season. Almost a swap, you'd say, as Paul Ayton went the other way to Henley Carnegie. It goes wide to Richard Mathers, and this is a rebuilt Wakefield team. They've lost a host of big stars in the off-season. Tim Smith, Paul Ayton, Carl Moore, Ben Cockayne amongst them, and Richard Agar has had to find those that were unwanted or unrated and build another team.
And he's given them a second chance, and they repair that faith. They're a very workmanlike side, and that's not been disrespectful to them. They work very hard for each other, whether they've got the ball or they haven't. One man that they will be focusing on is Justin Carney. You can't take your eyes off this Castleford side because they do like to attack from anywhere, but there's the mistake, is it?
Well, there was ball strips, knock-ons, offside potentially. The referee in the end says that it's an error by Castleford, and Wakefield will get to start this possession inside the half. Look, Danny Kermond attempts to strip the ball. It's free on the first occasion. Then is it knocked forward by Justin Carney? I believe it is.
I think that's where they got the knock-on from. You could also throw in a possible obstruction in amongst all that as well. There's a lot going on in that one.
Brilliant offload to set up some attacking play. We know that Castleford have been good this year. They've lost possession, but they're certainly guaranteed to entertain their supporters who've turned up here today.
3.5 minutes gone. First attacking situation of the match for either team, it's fair to say, and it comes to the underdog Wildcats. Castleford, hot favourites to repeat the feat from their earlier win that Phil was mentioning over Wakefield over the Easter period. Sykes and Syker have become the halfback combination, almost like poetry for the Wildcats in their last couple of games. It was Sykes who scored the late try that won the game at Widnes last weekend. Scruton and the ex-Bradford Bulls in this lineup. They've got a couple, Jared Samet also amongst them, and carted forward now by Scott Anderson, the Australian. They're now within 12 metres of the Wakefield, the Castleford try line. And again, it's the 2 halfbacks looking to combine once more. And again, it's Scruton getting his hands on the ball, can't get it free. McShane has spotted half a gap here. Did well, McShane, to scamper away. Last tackle, says James Child. What have Wakefield got up their sleeves here? Again, McShane is directing the traffic and going himself. And Paul McShane is claiming the opening try. James Child says no. The ball wasn't grounded, held up, and Castleford escaped.
Outstanding defence for the last 2 players of that set. Firstly, to hold them short of the line, and then to prevent McShane from grounding for the first try. He's a very dangerous player. He goes hard, low and fast when he's close to the opponent's try line. But the Tigers were aware, focused, and prevented the first 4 points.
They were outstanding the whole set there, I thought, Castleford. The Wakefield side has spread it from side to side. They really threw a lot of challenges, little short passes through, even some attempted offloads, which is going to be interesting. If they can stop the offloads from Wakefield, Castleford will dominate this game. We're talking up points. I think the way Castleford have opened that game defensively, they're going to be hard to crack today.
Andy Lynch awarded a testimony recently. This is his second spell with Castleford. His first started way back in 1999, way back in the last century. Ball goes off the boot of Mark Sneed. A left-footed kick that goes straight to Chris Riley, on loan from the Warrington Wolves. Got a lot of tries for Warrington, 120 and 180 games, just one so far in 9 for Wakefield since his loan move to Bellevue.
Very confident out here, Castleford, in the opening exchanges. They've got through their rhythms well out of their own end, got a good kick away, defended the line strongly. You do feel like, despite the fact that there's a couple of little openings for Wakefield, little runs from McShane, the Castleford are feeling really confident, really in control of themselves here.
When I say about Wakefield working hard as a team, the outside backs do an awful lot of work bringing the ball away from the try line. Then they make it so much easier for the big men to get on the back of those decent play the balls. And a good kick here. An intelligent kick.
Yeah, Syker, a little chip over the top, regathers as well. Half knocked down by Carney. Huge pass out. Oh, brilliantly picked off and knocked down by Mark Sneed, and that could be a possible try saver had it got out onto the right-hand side. Danny Kermon was lurking out there. Wakefield had 2 or 3 over. It would have been odds on a try, but you've got to admire the cute play from Harry Syker.
Well, he's tried something a little different, hasn't he? Early in the play, and then a long pass out wide. This is great rugby league in both attack and defence, but Shenton got back to reclaim the ball. You know, Michael Shenton's one of only 5 players to play every minute of every game so far this season, and I think he really is integral to what Castleford do. I think his presence out there for the Tigers has a steadying influence, and on that occasion he saved the points. Now, the first penalty of the game here going to Castleford. This should again get them in their opponent's half. They've been very good from these tap players. John Wells did a nice piece recently, showed the variety in the 6 players. Very often they've got runarounds and a variation to confuse defenders, draw them out of place, and ultimately find a gap in the defensive line.
Well, the highly rated Darryl Clark gets Castleford moving again. Sneed drops on. It was an awkward pass, to be fair. It was high, and he couldn't pull it in.
The setup of the play was great, wasn't it? They had so many players running into holes, but the pass let them down. Tries to catch it above his head, but he's lost it. The accuracy of the passing let them down, but the variety and the way that they get players to run into different positions certainly helps them, I think, and has been successful in them, doubling the points that they scored last season at this stage.
Mark Sneed on a season-long loan from the Salford Red Devils, who've got their problems at half-back at the moment with Tim Smith and Teo Farge out of the team. They could probably actually do with Sneed, who's had a wow of a season.
He's been absolutely exceptional, Rod. He's led this Castleford side. He's fitted straight into that jigsaw that Darryl Powell seems to have put together. A very good side. They all know what the job description is, whether you're an outside back or whether you're a forward, or whether you're a forward and a back like Justin Carney.
Marwan Kukash has said that Sneed will be coming back for next season, back to the AJ Bell Stadium. Here is Samet coming into the line and joined by Kermond, Captain Kermond, one of the dream team in 2013, and there was a late shout from him, Man of Steel as well, and he's leading from the front at the moment for the Wildcats. So is Nick Scruton, now McShane, and it's Syker again, looking to come to this near side to Sykes, and now they'll move it further to the left of Matt Ryan, who comes chiming into the line, playing in the second row today. He was in the centre last week. Sykes slipped. Still they'll keep it going. Kermond just dribbling one forward and going himself. He won't get there though.
It's the second time we saw it with the when Sheikha made a little chip and he threw the ball out wide and Shenton was there to pick it up. A little bouncing ball, grubber ball there. And there's a Castleford players that are arriving to pick them up in numbers. They're getting so many yellow jerseys around all those loose balls. You can see why Castle's defence is so strong. It's the work they're doing off the ball that's keeping them right in those tight situations.
I think Danny Kermon gets injured off his own player, doesn't he, though? Is it Dean Collis' hand that came round it? Whacked him in the top of the head. Inventive kick through. Look, he's spinning around the back of Holmes, and then that friendly fire. It so often happens in rugby league, doesn't it? One of your own teammates takes you out, and
well, you don't expect your own teammate to hit you. Spin round the tackle, and Danny Kermon is not one to stay on his haunches.
Well, Dean Collis himself has only just come back this week from a quad injury as well, so he's had his problems this season. And Kermond back on his feet, back into the fray.
Good line speed. Good line speed from Wakefield. They saw that Justin Carney was going to get hold of the ball. You've got to take those yards off him.
Carney's had a new long-term contract, 5 years for Castleford recently. He's absolutely devastating runner, 10 tries in the Super League, 7 in the Challenge Cups, and Tansey comes away with it for Cass up to the halfway line, or just before it in any rate. And now the little offload, the backdoor pass, while Haraki spins it out to this near-sighted Kirk Dixon. Dixon, who was the star of the show here last year, with 4 tries in this Magic game, including one acrobatic try in the corner. Liam Finn, a curling kick, landing on the 10-metre line, well pouched, well claimed.
I think this is going to be a great game. We're 10 minutes into it, and we've got the action going end-to-end in one set. Now, sadly, we've got another injury. Is it Danny Kermond down injured? Just walking back into position. He's one of the ones. Dean Collis also, I think, wanting attention from the physio, but the end-to-end nature will eventually open this game up. You saw how easily Castleford got up and over the halfway line, and this is a test and challenge here now, but the Wakefield can do the same.
There's a few Wildcats slow to get up here. You said, Phil, Danny Kermond, presumably still a residue from the previous injury. That is a wild pass. Was it knocked on? It was knocked on.
It was, Rob. I'm not so sure about that sort of play. I'm all for playing confidently, but throwing the ball like Richie Mathers, he's just expecting his winger and centre Dean Collis to be there. You've got to at least know where your teammate is, and on that occasion, he just expected him to be there.
He was unlucky that Collis, when he played the ball, got up and he had a sore ankle and he was limping, looking at the back, wasn't thinking, and Mathers wasn't aware of that. But as you say, he should be looking to see whether the player's here, or at least hear a call from him before he gets the ball. Well, particularly on your own line.
Yeah, and this is Castleford's first real opportunity, with Danny Kermond clearly not 100%. Clearly not 100%, and James Chelsea, you're going to have to go off and get some treatment, and now they're going to make a change. They're going to make that substitution. Danny Washbrook's coming on. So they're back to a full complement, but they are minus their captain. From the base of the scrum then, what can Castleford put on? Liam Finn, and now the man mountain Jake Webster. Back after a year out of the game in March with a knee reconstruction. Finn again, running across the line, looking for Sneed. Sneed flicks out a pass, it falls fortuitously to Michael Shenton, and Shenton makes a step and looks for a winger. Outside him, looked for Justin Carney, couldn't get the ball away. Danny Washbrook straight on the field, having to make an important stop on the Castleford captain. Still they come, the Tigers. Lynch rumbles forward. Millington spins in the tackle, can't offload, and that is going to be a penalty to Castleford. Hands on top of the ball, says James Child, the referee. Castleford not interested in turning that position into a simple 2-point play. Want more, want 4, want 6, and Hooby is to within a metre of the try line. The bearded wonder. Clark. And now Sneed with a little drop-off ball to Oliver Holmes, and Holmes isn't far away from the try line. Wakefield having to muscle up here. This is the first time they've had their defence examined. Castleford have survived a couple of Wakefield attacks. Liam Finn, a good ball there to Darryl Clark. And Darryl Clark is over, but James Child, the referee, wants to check, and presumably, Stuart, it'll be an obstruction.
Was an obstruction, 2 players colliding in some way with the runner. So who's responsible? That's what the video referees will be trying to decide here. Usually the shot behind the goal will give you the full picture. So it's as the ball moves across, got the lead runner coming through. What happens to him? Certainly the outside defender is going to him, and I think both defenders are going for that runner. I think he's caught it on the outside. I don't think there's any obstruction there whatsoever. It's a poor read by the defence.
So would it be number 22, Lucas Walshaw, the man most likely to have been obstructed? I know Paul Sykes actually comes in, doesn't he? He's made the decision to come in, so I don't think he has a claim. But the 22, the white 22, is he impeded from making a tackle?
I think he's been drawn to him. I think he's gone to make a tackle on him. You know, he hasn't tried to move on the outside and been blocked. I think he's made
and the decision is try.
And it is a try.
There's no obstruction.
Darryl Clark, the try scorer, and Darryl Clark, who got the opening try in this fixture last year, has done it again for the Castleford Tigers.
Well, some great variety here in the attack. They got 6 players close to their own line. Well, it was, I suppose, Wakefield can only blame themselves here for losing it. They lost possession near their own line. Then there was a ball steal, a further penalty. And with this period of possession and the accuracy of the passing, look at the speed with which they transfer the ball from one side to the other. And then a player with that sort of speed, like Darryl Clark, well, a hole that wide is inevitably going to lead to the first try. And that's gone to the Castleford Tigers. They've got themselves ahead, 4 points to 0.
Clark's 7th try of the Super League season, has one in the Challenge Cup as well, with Castleford in the quarter-finals of that competition as well, where they'll travel to Wigan at the beginning of June. Now Mark Sneed with this almost unique kicking style. Incredible the way he almost goes through the whole 360 degrees, but he hits the target more often than not. He's kicking in the mid-80%. Mark Sneed this season, so it works for him, that's for sure. 6-0 Castleford.
Well, Paul Sykes, the number 6, he needs to have more faith in the number 22, Lucas Walshaw, because he goes in, he jams in and leaves a huge hole there. And you can see Danny Kerman has got the shine. I think that's courtesy of Dean Collis, his teammate. The old war wound there on the veteran.
Jared Samet kicks it off. Samet, one of the iconic figures of the Magic weekend. He scored a wonderful try in his first appearance for the Crusaders against Bradford Bulls in 2010. Let's get down to the sideline and get some injury news from Graham Beecroft. Graham.
Yeah, well, the news of Danny Kermond isn't so good. The doctor has had a good look at him. Suspected fractured cheekbone, I'm afraid. They're going to try and get the swelling down. They've got some ice on it to do that. And then when the swelling comes down, they're going to make another assessment. The problem is he's had that injury twice before, so there is a suspicion it might be a recurrence of that injury. And if so, he won't play any further part in the game. So we'll have to wait and see on that one.
Thanks, Graham. Yeah, that's dreadful news for Danny Kerman and, of course, for the Wakefield Wildcats this afternoon. 40-20 attempt, prodded forward, won't quite reach the 20. It was a good effort. It was a good effort from Mark Sneed. He was only a metre or two the wrong side of that whitewash, but it will be a Wakefield scrum.
Very clinical reply here from Castleford, hasn't been a wonderful set of 6. Sneed actually thought about, let's go for the double punch, sucker punch here. He actually sat behind the whole set, looked at the 40-20, and it would have been another opportunity to attack the line and try and turn 6 into 12, which was wonderful thinking in the opening exchanges. They feel like they're on top. They sense they're on top here.
Well, Castleford currently lead by 6 points, and if they maintain that margin or indeed increase it, they will move above the Wigan Warriors on the league ladder. They'll go up to 3rd, and that would put them just 3 points behind current league leaders, the Rhinos.
Well, the last time Wakefield were asked the question, can you carry the ball from your own end of the field and get up and over the halfway line, they came up with an error. They lost possession. Here there's a great intensity in Castleford's defence, and this is very often a barometer of how the teams are travelling here. You've just got to simply make ground. Wakefield looking to do that by going wide. Widnes was successful with width yesterday, but those sort of players aren't making a lot of ground for Wakefield at present.
That was Ryan taking it on. This is McShane. So that problem then with Danny Kermond. Nick Scruton takes it up towards the halfway line within a metre of it, and how they're going to readjust without their captain. He's a talismanic figure, and that's an ordinary kick. Out on the full.
Just kicked it, hasn't he, too far. They knew what they were trying to do, but at the moment their execution is letting them down. I suppose the only thing to keep the Wakefield fans happy at present, and Richard Egger, is he knows his side don't panic when they fall behind in games. The last 2 weeks they've come from behind in the second half of matches. Things go against them, they don't tend to let the heads drop, and that's a positive for the Wildcats.
This does become a very big set for them though, Phil. It's off the back of points, and Cass have been really moving them around. You feel like they're going to drag them right out to this right side now and come sweeping back with big set plays to the left. They look like they're setting themselves up for bigger plays as they go through.
Yeah, Wakefield were 16-0 down at Hull FC a couple of weeks back and rallied to win 23-16, and they scored right on the bell to beat Widnes last week. But here they're under pressure again. Tansey was clattering into 2 Wakefield Trinity Wildcats, and they had to make the tackle.
I think Chris Riley's was essential, wasn't it?
Yep.
Great read. It's a gamble when you come in as the winger, but he came in and stopped the play. It'll be tested again here if Araki can keep his hands free.
Well, he is a wonderful offloader. Tansey bounces off 2 tackles, finds Liam Finn. Finn keeps it moving. Andy Lynch would rather go forward than sideways, but there isn't any room for him there. He's dragged to the ground, right in centre field, 20 metres out. The veteran, Sneed, looked for Shenton. Last tackle here for Castleford Tigers. 11 metres out, no one was at dummy half. Just briefly, Darryl Clark now arrives, and Carney! Justin Carney will not be denied! Justin Carney has just run right through the lot of them for his 11th Super League try of the season. Irresistible.
Well, the tank on the flank has blasted a hole through 3 or 4 defenders here and made what looked to be impossible possible. That's a brilliant finish. You know, wingers have different skills. His is his strength, power, and I think determination. And when he's presented with this opportunity, well, I thought surely this is going to be denied here. There are just too many white shirts for him to get over. It's a quick pick-up by Darryl Clark. Nice bit of footwork, puts the ball to him. He goes through Mothers, past Smith, through Samad, and brings the ball infield to score. That's a brilliant finish from a player who we love to see with the ball in his hands. Carney knows, let's give it to him and see what he can do. Right through 3, through 4, and puts 4 more points on the scoreboard with an excellent finish, with his side fully in control at this moment in time.
Well, back in the glory days of the Bradford Bulls, they had Tavita Vaikona and Leslie Varnacola, who were both capable of scoring tries like that, where they just didn't care whether they ran round people. They'd quite happily just run over them, but the way he was just shrugging people off was frankly frightening. 10-0 to the Tigers, and possibly 12 if Sneed can add another 2. He's almost unstoppable from that range, isn't he, Carl?
Well, I'm not old enough to have ever watched Billy Boston play for Wigan, but people tell me in that town that his greatest strength was his ability to push through defenders and score, and you can actually find on the internet some of the tries he did score very similar to that. Power, determination, and just too strong for the men in front of him.
Sneed from the left flank will kick front on, and they all come alive. 2 from 2 for Mark Sneed. Converts both tries from Clark and Carney, and they lead by a dozen.
Sensational kicker, Mark Sneed, very intelligent player. But when you play against Justin Carney, you've got to make sure you're moving forward. And what Richie Mathers does, he's just stood flat-footed. You've got to give yourself a chance, because a man that big, that powerful, so close to the line, he's going to score a try. You've got to move forward, hit him with everything. And what a great player he has been for Darryl Powell and this Castleford club.
It was a wonderful play also from Clark to get there. He realised there was no dummy half, kept his composure and put the ball right out to the danger man that we're all talking about. He knew exactly under pressure where to put it. It was a good play from Clark.
He has been a great player for Darryl Powell, but of course it was Ian Millwood who brought him to Castleford, and Ian didn't get to see the fruits of Justin Carney's labours for very long. That is his 40th try, and this is his 34th appearance. It's ludicrous try scoring.
Phenomenal strike rate. He's also playing in a team now who have a defence to match their attack. They're controlling the ball better. Nice ground made there. They'll do the tough stuff in the middle, and then they've got the finesse and speed out wide, haven't they? Look at that, they're making that look quite easy there on 5 players. I know they've had more of the possession than their opponents. That's obviously going to tie you eventually, but Sneed's put under pressure, and that's a knock-on. Great effort here by Wakefield. They realised, was it Harry Syker on the far side of the field, that they had to do something to stop the momentum that the opponents have at present.
Yeah, this is important. It came on the last play. Castleford got in a pickle. Sneed couldn't get the kick away as he wanted to first time, had to offload, and it all unravelled from there, and that means Wakefield have got the field position that they haven't had for, well, it must be 15 minutes or so. They had that one opportunity early on when Paul McShane was held up over the try line, but since then it's been a Tigers tide towards the Wakefield line. Now a bit of respite for Richard Agar's side as Scott Anderson drives it in. So they're in the 20-metre in the red zone for the first time in some time. Danny Washbrook on as a substitute for the injured Danny Kermond as McShane comes in at dummy half. Scruton says, give it to me, I'll go forward, and he goes within a couple of metres of the try line now, but this is the final tackle, so somebody has got to conjure something up, and presumably it'll be Syker or Sykes. It is Syker who dribbles forward looking for Sykes, who is making a run, but it's mopped up effortlessly by Jordan Tanton.
Well, do you know, when you look at Castleford play, just look how many players move forward in support. That is how you meet Justin Carney, by the way. You've got to meet him with aggression. Good play from Jordan Tanzi to cover that ball. But when the Castleford players are bringing the ball away from the line, they've got support. So they're going at one defender with 2 attackers. Makes it so much easier.
I'm not sure there's any place, any time, anywhere that you'd like to meet Justin Carney in such a manner.
Oh,
now
Clark through the middle.
Clark has side through. Brilliant run. Easy pass. And galloping away is Jordan Tanzi. And Castleford goes 16-0 in front. Clark cut them apart, and Tansey finished off, gliding over for their third try.
Well, Tansey's finished off what, in a way, Tansey has started. It was an excellent piece of positional play to prevent the kick going into the in goal area at the other end of the field and causing them trouble. And then less than 6 plays later, his teammates have helped him to go on out, I think, what will be 6 more points. Look at the speed and acceleration. He's a natural athlete, great runner, and he puts himself, works hard on the inside when Clark goes down the centre of the field to take the pass, keeps his pace, relaxes, and grows cleanly over the line. This will be 6 more, and Wakefield need a miracle.
It was his second run of the set, Clark. He saw Tansey get the ball, and Clark was sniping around. He smelt that Nick Scruton was getting tired in the middle. Good hookers look for that. He looked up and he detected a prop. He was about to come out of his rotation about 20 minutes in. He just worked him over. He worked him over 2 times in the set, and eventually they cracked. It was a wonderful bit of smart play from a very talented hooker.
Yeah, indeed. Still only 21 years of age, highly rated, leads the Super League in tackle busts in 2014. Easy to see why, but not just the break, but the composure to put the pass on a plate for Jordan Tansey. And he might say it was easy, but he timed it perfectly, and Tansey was there to just romp over the line.
Well, he didn't panic. He had a man inside and outside, so he had his options there. Or does he even go alone? Very good play, Darrell Clark. I'm sure this will be a further 2 points, Rod.
And Mark Sneed obliges. 3 from 3 and 18-0.
Similar situation to Hull KI yesterday here now. We've got a team with an 18-point lead. And the other side here now, Terry.
All good hookers go when the markers aren't set. And Scott Anderson, he failed to get round and place himself at the first marker. And soon as Darrell Clark spots that, he's off, and he's got electric speed off the mark, and he gets the big man, because you just can't counteract that. It's very difficult when you're a big man to try and catch someone as quick as Darrell Clark.
Yeah, I remember the Jordan Tansey try at Cardiff in 2007, the chaotic climax to that Bradford Leeds game. Sinfield's conversion, a penalty attempt rather, came back off a post. Tansey was miles offside. The try stood. Here he goes for a forward pass. Well. Blunder off the kickoff by the Castleford Tigers. Have just gone 18-0 up. They're absolutely buzzing.
That's a shame. It's such a shame when a team are willing to attack and risk their arm like that. The touch judge's version is that was a forward pass. Well, that is a shame, because it looks as though Tansey was through. We could have seen the most spectacular try. That would have been a piece of magic. Haraki's pass to Tansey. As it is now, this was the chance, the opportunity Wakefield needed. Seeker, Samet, Sykes, one of the S's needs to come up with something, and it's not going to be a penalty to obstruction.
Well, between them, the S's came up with a mess.
Well, the numbers going through, and he just gets it all wrong. You can see that Samet going on that crash ball, trying to hit a line, and Paul Sykes put his hands up. He needed to let that ball go earlier. They had some space on the right edge.
Well, they've been gifted 2 opportunities, haven't they, by Castleford in the last 5 minutes via a knock-on and then from the forward pass, and then to turn the ball over via a penalty from the very first play. I mean,
when you're in possession, they're coach killers, aren't they, Tony? Surely.
Yeah, they're just extremely frustrating moments, aren't there? And as much for the players too. You know, they'll be out. They don't mean to do those things. They're out there and they're looking for opportunities. But
you look like you were reliving a few horrors there, Tony.
You've been there, done that, absolutely.
Well, Castleford have escaped there. They gave Wakefield what should have been a full set of 6, virtually on their own line. It didn't happen, and they're through again here. It's Sneed romping away, turns inside. He should have passed. He should have passed. The ball is going to be touched down. It will be touched down by Michael Shenton. James Child lets it breathe. He wants to go to the video referee.
Well, is this an interpretation of whether it's a ball steal or a loose carry? So you're simply asking somebody's opinion here.
That's right, and the slow motion will probably accentuate a ball steal, if anything, so it will be play on. So
should it be watched in full speed? Does that give it a better view if you watch it at full pace?
It probably gives you a better idea of what happens. Well, I think you can see there that the ball is probably pulled out by the attempted tackle.
Well, there would have been no argument had Mark Sneed offloaded, because Shenton was outside him and Carney was outside him. It was a walk-in try.
He clearly goes for that, Stuart. Jared Samet.
Well, he attacks the ball and the ball comes out as he attacks the ball. You know, what you usually look for is a pulling action, and there's a clear pull on the ball on that one.
His left arm rips the ball from Sneed.
Well, I think this will be judged as a ball steal rather than a knock-on, so I think that'll just be a try.
Decision is...
And the decision is from Richard Silverwood. No try.
A knock-on.
Well, Wakefield needed something.
Ball lost on impact.
Well, that's the explanation. A loose carry, ball lost on impact. Stuart?
Well, as Phil said, it goes down to people's interpretation.
But your interpretation was that was a try?
Was indeed.
Well, it's a bit of luck that Wakefield needed. As I say, 18 points you can come back from in rugby league. I think when it goes past 24, or up to 24 even, we're in trouble. There's an appeal here, a question from Shenton to the referee, but it's out of his hands because it went to the video ref.
Well, it is a game of opinions, and the only opinion, of course, that actually matters is Richard Silverwood, who is the video referee, and he said it was a loose carry and it came free in impact. But the reality was, regardless of what Richard Silverwood thought or Stuart Cummins or any of us thought, the ball should have been passed. If he passed it out, Carney was a certain scorer.
And it was excellent build-up into that try. The ball goes wide of the tight three Wakefield defenders. The offload from Castleford and Mark Sneed through the hole.
Well, the Wildcats needed a turning point. Maybe, just maybe, this could be it. Up until this point, though, they've lost the ball now in the tackle. That's this will be amazing if they can survive here now without conceding, because Castleford just so on form at present.
Too many mistakes.
It actually wasn't a mistake. It was a clever play there from Oliver Holmes. As he was going down, he wrestled the ball away. He stole the ball clean on a one-on-one tackle, so it was a clever play from him.
Here it is. And Samet, who's the kind of player it would be the pickpocket, this time had his pocket picked. As Tanzi comes onto the ball again. He scored once, he wants more. There is Oliver Holmes. Finn to Haraki. Haraki's spinning, but three Wakefield Wildcats have got him all wrapped up. Webster's in at dummy half. It's the final play in this set for the Tigers, who already lead 18-0. Finn looking to add to the try tally. Up towards Carney, plucked out of the air very comfortably. Plucked out like taking an apple off a tree by Dean Collis.
Well, that was well taken, that. There's a couple of Castleford players in his eye line. He just focuses on that ball. He's got Shenton and Justin Carney putting pressure on him. Good line speed here from Castleford, looking to turn the screw.
You can just see Danny Kermont's come back on the field. Wakefield know that they need something special. He is their special man. His eye looks very sore. His face no doubt in a bit of pain. They can't get forward, can they? Just look at, you know, Castleford have made almost 100 tackles and missed just one. That's an amazing defensive effort to complement what they've done when they've had possession.
You can see the penalty here, though. Mark Sneed mucking around at the play of the ball. Well, we've seen Danny Kermont play with the most extraordinary injuries over the last couple of seasons. He earned the nickname Superman last year. He was playing with all manner of injuries, as in the old sketch, a mere flesh wound.
He's brave, isn't he? He is a brave man. To come back on the field, clearly in pain, but knowing that his side need him. They're 18 points down, 27 minutes into the game. They need to come up with something. And Phil, you picked up on that. They've only missed one tackle, Casper. Maybe Wakefield aren't asking enough questions of them. Maybe it's just too simple.
Well, there was that one sniff early on when it was scoreless, when McShane went over the line, was held up, but apart from that, Castleford have dominated both with the ball and without it.
It's interesting, Rob, that you say McShane was the one through. One thing Wakefield appear to be doing is going from side to side, swinging around your rod, looking for points, trying to find points. I think they went better when they were just going through. There's little lines like that right through the middle of them where they're looking to earn points rather than have them presented to you. And it gives your halves a little bit more to look at when you're playing that style of football.
Moore, McShane, they come back from whence they came, running into heavy traffic this time, running into a cul-de-sac. Again, McShane is looking for something. It was Fairbank who was tackled. They go to the right. That's the ball from Paul Sykes, which is batted down. It will be a scrum down. Mark Sneed couldn't reel it in. It'll be a scrum to Wakefield.
Well, they've been in this position before. It's a speculative pass there from Sykes. Threw it out, and there was more hope than anything else, I think, in that. But this has to be now. This next 60 seconds has to be an opportunity for Wakefield. Starting 6 players close to opponent's line. They have some naturally instinctive attacking players. Jared Samet being perhaps one of the best. Can they find him the ball with some space? Early ball, perhaps.
Sykes just keeps it very, very simple to Wanshaw and just says trundle it forward. get us some kind of platform. Let's go from here. And now it's McShane, and now it's Scruton, who's seen a heck of a lot of the ball and has put in a lot of graft. Nick Scruton, without any joy so far, though. There was a couple of forwards looking to run onto it, but they go to the halves instead, looking for Samet, and it's picked up easily by Shenton. And Michael Shenton is off to the races. He's being hunted down by Chris Lively. He's got men outside him. Shenton goes, and Shenton gets there. And Castleford score again as Shenton, the captain, goes the length and just has the legs to get home.
Well, again, for me, it's a try as a result of the defence. Just as Jordan Tanzi helped with his defensive play to set the one up that he scored, Shenton and his teammates have worked so hard here to get up in front of the attacking players. Samet comes up with a mistake, and the man goes almost the length of the field, stays relaxed. In the end, he knows that Chris Riley's coming over. He attempts to push the ball free in the tackle. He grounds it safely. To the delight, I think, now of the Castleford supporters, who sense this is one of the team are back. They've lost for the last 2 weeks, but the Tigers are back on track. And there's a very loud roar coming out here from them. They need to be a top 4 side by the time we get to the end of the season. And in this sort of form, who's going to stop them?
Michael Shenton, the Castleford captain, goes into double digits for Super League tries this season, and that's gone almost unnoticed given the exploits from Justin Carney on the wing just outside him. But he's only one behind Carney in terms of Super League tries. It's a prolific haul from the former St Helens man, now in his second spell at Castleford. He's been reborn at Castleford.
Yeah, interesting. He was down at Sky Sports News this week, wasn't he? Interviewed as part of the promotion and build-up for this weekend, and he said that his side haven't lost their confidence, even though they'd lost the last 2 games to Huddersfield and to Leeds. There's still a great deal of belief that it's not been a fluke. They are where they deserve to be at this point, halfway through the season.
Indeed, and they played well in those 2 games. They could have won both of those games, actually. At Huddersfield, they lost by a single point. He's missed. Sneed hooks one wide. They lost by a single point at Huddersfield, and then against the Rhinos they were in front, weren't they? I know they just got ground down in the end, but they were competitive in that game, and other games they've lost against St Helens they could have won.
Sheer pressure. Michael Shenton, he gets up and he's put pressure on Jared Samet, who's tried to sidestep Shenton before he had the ball, and that's why he makes the mistake. And similar scorelines to last year here, Rod, because after last year, after 26 minutes, Castleford were leading 22-0. Wakefield need to make sure that they start better, because they need to start the second half, better, because they could get blown away.
Yeah, last year, you're right, Terry, yeah, that they made things respectable in the second half. It finished 49-24. Wakefield did score 4 tries, but they were roundly beaten, in all honesty, and it's falling into a similar pattern here against the rampant Castleford Tigers.
Well, I must say, I thought at some point in the season Castleford could not maintain consistently the way they've played, but if anything, this is one of their peak performances of the year. I think the players have obviously got up for it. It's a big setting for them, and I never imagined, in fact, on Sky Sports News before the game, I said that it's unlikely these 2 sides will get to Old Trafford down the road at the end of the season. But on this sort of evidence, you'd have to say Castleford really do give themselves a chance. Great game control. Just Tony mentioned earlier, having scored a try, there's no panic, they don't get overexcited. On that occasion, Liam Finn put the kick in, and they just played territorially and patiently to maintain a control on the match.
The game here last year, which we've just mentioned, was Darryl Powell's first win as Castleford coach. This will be his 17th, unless Wakefield have some kind of comeback left in the locker.
One thing's been noticed in Cass, particularly this season, a little bit with the back end of last year, is physically they are strong. I think when I first come back a couple of years ago and they were struggling down the bottom, they looked physically not in the competition. Similar bodies, but they've had 1 replacement. We're now 33 minutes into the game. They've only used 1 sub. Their front rowers are getting through massive amounts of minutes, and the other thing they do, I notice, that their defence is very strong up top. They physically compete really well. They're very hard to get an offload on. And they did crack a couple. There's a clue there for Wakefield. One way to get them is to get an offload. Richard Moore got a couple away for a while there, and they did open things up a bit. But having said that, it's hard to do.
The kick went dead. Cass get the 20-metre restart. It finds the arms of Michael Shenton eventually, and the penalty's been given.
There's a penalty. Justin Carney was taken off the ball. When Jordan Tanzi gets the ball back, he taps it as quick as he can, and he's trying to get Justin Carney, look at that, coming straight onto it, hitting the ball, or trying to hit the ball at full tilt.
Danny Kermont, isn't he? He collides with. I'm not sure Kermont knew what was happening behind him. Been bumped by his own teammate, knocked over when he didn't even know it. Not a lot of fun at the moment for Danny Kermond.
Well, 6 minutes to go before the break. Castleford are already guaranteed a big first half, half-time lead.
Ooh. That could have been
That's
a knock-on.
It is a knock-on.
They've seen that runaround that John Wells highlighted the other week.
Richard Moore
was watching it.
There needed to be more depth on that. I'll tell you, as a former front rower, when you're coming onto the ball, it's very difficult to catch one of those passes when there's two men in front of you, waiting to just clean you up, knock you on your backside. And when you're confronted by him, Rod.
Yeah, Richard Moore, fearsome sight in his second spell at the Wakefield Wildcats.
They just can't make a break, can they? They can't put a dent, a hole. They can't really find that quick play of the ball. Control is all with Castleford, or whether they have the ball or they don't.
Yeah, dominant on both sides of the ball. Maybe Danny Kermond, suspected fractured cheekbone and all, can do something. Look at this tremendous run. That was like a man pulling a truck, as 2 or 3 Tigers were hanging on to him, and he didn't like it, Danny Kermond, either. Samet comes into the line, the big, tall, lanky figure of Lucas Walshaw. 6'5" he is. Gets Cass up to Wakefield up to the 20-metre line once more. Last tackle, though. And there's just a small dent in that Castleford defence this time. Syker with a little kick. Falls loose, and a Tiger dives on it.
And they always do. Again, those broken moments, Cass keep coming up with the ball. There's always those yellow shirts there. There's no fluke there within the ladder. They're fit, they compete, they make the extra efforts.
Scott Wilden it was who got down on the ground where the boots were flying. Penalty to Cass, knocked into touch by Mark Sneed.
Will we see a run around, Phil?
I don't think there'll be a big queue of people wanting it. If there is, he might push it back to the other side where the ball came from. Hold on.
All the way. Hold on, Richard. Go.
Sneed again. Keeping it simple. Craig Hooby.
Release, Richard.
Well, they can afford to keep it simple here. Castleford, 4 minutes to go before half-time. 22-0 lead already in the locker. If they add to it, great. If they can just keep things steady and that goes in at that score, they'll be delighted also, as well. Haraki is spun to the ground. Meaty tackle from Walshaw. Chris Riley came in to assist. Webster to Finn. Liam Finn is a testament to, at first you don't succeed, try again. He was floating around in the lower leagues for over a decade, now playing in the Super League.
Now that was better contact from Wakefield, hitting Craig Hooby, one of Castleford's better forwards, who takes some stopping.
Here's Finn. Little chip. Jared Samet has got acres of space and plenty of time. He takes it down and now goes off on one of those runs, Samet, that he can excite and delight with. He felt it should have been a penalty. It wasn't given. Richie Mathers runs it away now, and they do get a penalty this time.
Well, they've gone off a little bit here, Cass. We've been given compliments for the last 35 minutes. That was a real nothing set-off. They didn't use the run around. There was nothing on, and they just carted it forward for 6 tackles. They do look a bit tired. Here's your chance to jump in, Wakefield.
Yeah, maybe they have just thought, OK, 22-0, enough's enough for this half. Maybe they have just started to just rest on their laurels a little bit.
Well, if they have, it's a good time for Wakefield, because you think going into the second half, they need to score a try. They need to play positively. They need to go in at half-time, talk to the coach, get some direction with at least 6 points in the bag.
Yeah, 22-6 behind seems a whole lot better than 22-0 behind. They've offered precious little in attack, in all honesty. They've never really looked like scoring since that one early chance in the first 5 minutes. Syker will move it out to Dean Collis, who is a danger man. Collis is corralled 18 metres from the try line. Maybe Wakefield have got something here in the closing minutes of this first half to unlock the Castleford Tigers defence, and boy, do they need points. McShane is in there at dummy half. He looks for Harry Syker. Syker looks for options. It comes from Richard Moore. Moore threatened to offload not once but twice, but in the end was wrapped up as Craig Hooby got in and got his arms wrapped around him in a big bear hug, along with Andy Lynch. And now the final tackle comes and Syker puts boot to ball again. Well, that should be claimed by Justin Carney. He was giving away 3 or 4, possibly 6 inches in height to the likes of Collis out there, but he still got up highest.
Well, you could perhaps criticise some of the kicks that Wakefield have done today, but I think that you have to really compliment, here's a reaction of the coach. He knows that that kick is not good enough to give his team a chance. But you do again have to compliment what Castleford have done there to defend their own try line. It is outstanding, and Daryl Powell's, you know, year-on-year improvement in a 12-month period. For me, you know, he has to be the coach of the year. Has to be the coach of the year, certainly in the last 12 months, because no side has improved as much as the Tigers.
Yeah, he celebrated his first anniversary with the game against Leeds Rhinos, which they lost narrowly, as we say. 16 wins, 1 draw and 10 losses up to press. This would, as I said, be his 17th victory in charge of the Castleford Tigers, and he has served a very long apprenticeship, Daryl Powell. We almost forget that he was in charge of the Leeds Rhinos in the early part of this century.
A bit similar to Liam Finn, isn't it, really? And I think some of the best coaches do that. Mathers, if you look at the number of times that Castleford, though, have turned over the ball, Wakefield have had it about the 10-metre line. That shows you the control. Give your opponents the ball, but give it to them near their own end of the field.
50 seconds left. We've got to get a shift on here. Ball goes into touch. They might get 3 or 4 plays off the back of this.
I'd like to see a couple of players going forward. They've not used Lucas Walshaw. He was exceptional last week against Widnes. Big, strong, aggressive left centre. He just needs some early ball. Just let him have a go here at Liam Finn. He's lining up outside Liam Finn. Give him early ball. Let him set his own line and see what he can do.
Well, there's 25 seconds left here, so they're going to have to produce something spectacular, and that isn't it.
Spectacular defence. We should look at one side, shouldn't we? They've got complete control.
But that's easy to defend, Phil.
Time to try something a little different, surely, as Kermond shrugs off a couple of challenges and then motors through half a gap. It's shut down. There's only 6 seconds left. You'd assume the ball has got to go into the Manchester sky and hope that something breaks their way. Samet tries a little chip ahead, picked up by Tansey. It could be returned at the other end with even more interest as Jordan Tansey gets it away. Now they're going to wrap him up. Shouldn't be a problem here. This should be the end of it as Lynch gets it free. With all the fun of the fair in the sunshine in the closing stages of the first half, which has been dominated by the Castleford Tigers, who've scored 4 tries to nil from Carney, Clark, Tansey and Shenton. 3 of them converted from Sneed. It's been all Cass, and they lead this derby match by 22 points to nil.
Excellent first half then for the Castleford Tigers. You might remember they won the fixture here against Wakefield 49 points to 24 last year, and they also won on Good Friday when they visited the Wildcats 43-20. They're on their way to another big victory here, you get the feeling. 22-0 they lead at half-time. Castleford's Daryl Powell on course to close the gap at the top of the Super League table after that first 40 minutes. A fantastic lineup of live sport on Sky Sports next weekend. This isn't bad either, but it's a one-way street at the moment, and Wakefield 0, Castleford Tigers 22 really does tell its own story. They will be happy as they settle down and get ready for the second half to get underway. So let us get back to the commentators without more ado. Terry, Tony Ray, Phil, and first Rod Studd.
Thanks, Eddie. Castleford Tigers just 40 minutes away from going into 3rd spot on the Super League ladder. If they win by 6 or more, that's where they'll be. If Wakefield come off the canvas to produce a remarkable fight back, they can move up a spot in the table and within 2 points of the playoff places themselves. But Wakefield at the moment just trying to get a foothold in a match where they've been on the slippery slope virtually from the word go.
I think we'll find out in the next 60 seconds whether Wakefield have a chance. Jamie Peacock touched on it at half-time. The intensity with which Wakefield can attempt to make these next 6 tackles will give us an indication of just how committed they are, how willing they are to work, how much pain they're prepared to go through to give themselves a chance of getting back into the match.
Liam Finn goes straight down the middle towards Jarrett Samet, who'll pick it up virtually on his own goal line. He needs to conjure something up like that. The remarkable try he scored for Crusaders against Bradford when he turned up looking like Captain Jack Sparrow and produced some magical stuff. And Bradford were nilled in that game. Only 2 teams have ever been nilled at the Magic Weekend. Bradford there against the Crusaders. Hull KR were whacked by St Helens up at Murrayfield. And, well, Wakefield in danger of becoming an unwanted member of that rather exclusive club.
You've got a good memory, Rod. Someone needs to take it upon themselves here to get hold of this game. One of the senior players. And you just got to lead by example. When you know you've been beaten, you've had your orders at half-time from your coach, what you need to do, where you need to improve. Got to play with a bit more aggression and test Castleford, really turn them around, keep kicking into the corner here, although it's a high kick.
Well, it went higher than it went forward, and it's collected by Wakey, but that's about all you can say positive about it, because Cass envelop, no way through for Jared Samet, and the Tigers can get the ball back.
Terry was asking for a way through. I think what they should have been talking about at half-time is playing more off Andy McShane. I think they're relying too much on their halves to steer them around the field and looking for little openings off them, playing behind the advantage line. I think they should be getting their big forwards rolling forward off McShane. He reads short sides well, he reads the ruck well. He give them a better chance of getting into and putting some real challenges at the Cass middlemen.
Well, Castleford, ever since the early stages of the season, have been working week on week, hearing this is the week when the bubble bursts, this will be it, this is when they'll go off the rails. They did lose the last two, but they've got right back on them this week. Very good performance from Cass.
Yeah, I thought there was going to be an upset in this game, and it's the Wakefield supporters who are upset at half-time. An awful showing for them. Been a bit more committed here now, but you're playing against the side there. Craig Hubie's attempted that offload. It was a blind offload. He couldn't see the teammate he was trying to put the ball to. Speculative one that's gone against them, and Wakefield had a man up and around the action this time. That didn't happen enough in the first half.
Well, that was an offload at 20-0 up that wouldn't have happened at 6-4 up.
You can afford to do that, Rod. You can afford to do that. You're on halfway. You're turning the ball over to the opposition here. And this is what Wakefield need. They need some possession. They need some good field position. And can they test this Castleford side out?
Again, they went to the halfback and they spread it out to the edges, and apologised to Paul McShane. I called him Andy a minute ago. I think they should be going off in and work through the middle now. This is where they're going to get their yards.
Can they conjure something up from this attacking situation? McShane finds Harry Syker, a kick towards Tanzi, it bobbles around a bit, but Wella Haraki's there to mop up. And let's go down to the sideline and get some half-time news from Graham Beecroft.
Well, needless to say, a big improvement required from Wakefield, and Richard Agar emphasising that at half-time. Castleford, well, Darryl Powell said quite simply, we want to keep up the momentum, we want a really good hard start just to keep the screw turned at the start of this second half, Rod.
Thanks, Graham. Yeah, Castleford will want to be relentless in this second period as Finn expansively finds Wella Haraki, who's being linked with a move to Salford for next season. Look at this, he's got three men hanging on to him, and in the end he has to go to ground. Riley managed to drag him down on the far side with Lucas Walshaw, but it was a great run from the former Crusaders and former Leeds Rhino, Wella Haraki. Last tackle for Cass, 10 metres inside the Wakefield half. It comes to Sneed, his trusty left boot floats it up. Samet is there and claims it well, despite a few arms and bodies flailing around in front of him.
Well, Ian, we've been playing for a few minutes into the second half, and I think we'll see here just how much Wakefield want to work here for the remainder of the match. Richard Morse carrying the ball forward. Look, there's some good leg drive there, although he's lost possession. It's gone from bad to worse.
You're right for that. I won't question Wakefield's work ethic. What I'll question is sometimes their execution, whether it be of a certain play, of the offload like on that occasion, or whether it be of the tackle. And he knows that he's made the mistake. He'll hold his hands up and he'll say to his teammates, just help me out here, just give me a minute's work. Let's try and keep Castleford from scoring the try.
Well, they're going to breather in the hay. Incidentally, Richard Agar signed Richard Owen, the winger from Castleford in the week, but didn't want to give him a debut against his old club, simply only had one training session. So he's someone they can call upon in the next few weeks. Owen, in fact, scored a couple of tries against Wakefield forecast in the Easter Derby meeting. So that'll strengthen Wakefield's hand a bit, and they've got a couple of players to come back, like Ali Lawatiti, who's currently out injured as well. Here's Hubie, though, for the Tigers, rumbling forward. Really back to something like his best. Remember 3 years ago, that horrific fractured kneecap that he got at St Helens, a horrible injury, but back playing well now, Craig Hubie for Cass. As Finn is caught in possession this time. Well, they're going straight down the middle here. This is Jamie Ellis off the bench now, giving them another half-back option. Here's Mark Sneed. Sneed, one little pump, looked to go left, in the end caught in possession. Three wait for Wildcats, knock him down. Ellis comes in at acting half-back, looks for Liam Finn. Finn will just grubber it, prodded at, poked at by Wakefield, but they haven't managed to dive on the ball. But it's a long, long way from there to the Castleford try line.
Well, pride in the defence here. Jacob Furbank falls on possession. They held out the Tigers, both on the right and the left, back in the middle. But too often, when they pick up possession to start a set, it's about 10 metres from their own line, and they're asked really then to put these scurrying little scampering runs in to get up. Outside backs just making ground.
Now there's Peter Godden now making an entrance into the fray. He'd been on the bench for most of the match. He scored 6 tries this season for Wakefield. The Kiwi, he can produce a little bit of the scampering play that Phil was talking about. Wakefield have got to produce something at the moment. They're hanging on in there. First to get a foothold in the match, get some kind of respectability. Need to score next, that goes without saying. Long kick. Massive kick from Syker. Justin Carney didn't know where it was for a moment, but he regained his bearings and regained the ball.
No.
In he goes.
If you've fallen out with a teammate, I think you kick the ball down to that side of the field.
Yeah. If that ball goes anywhere near Justin Carney, push up.
Well, breaking through is Kirk Dixon. This is going to be another for the Castleford Tigers with Shenton. Shenton with the 1-2 with Sneed, who dances inside. A twinkle-toed finish. Magnificent move by Cass. They score again. From deep, it was set up by the Barney bowling ball, Carney, who made the initial bust, and then they finished it off, but there were some silky skills. And what a finish.
Absolutely brilliant. You know, Tony Ray talked about the fact that Castleford look a stronger, more physical side. I also think they're a more skillful side, and this try is a perfect demonstration of that. Okay, they've gone up and they've played the ball quickly. That's some physical part, but then the team play, the passing, the timing, the vision really that the players have here to support the man with the ball. And even though there was a tremendous effort by Wakefield to get back and deny Shenton at first, Sneed stayed alive, stepped back inside, and look, there are 3 other Castleford players around him who could have all taken the final pass to give us the first try of the second half. The Tigers are red hot at present and thoroughly deserve all of the accolades they're currently getting. Sneed is tracked by Godden. Shenton's on the inside. Quick thinking, quick passing. He brings the ball closer, make the keys. And what about, well, look at that kick. There's a bravery almost to walk on out to Richie Mathers for taking on that attempted tackle. He survived it, I think. Wow, he's relieved to be alive at the end of it.
Brilliant stuff. Brilliant stuff. From start to finish. Support play, handling, backing up, sidestepping, scoring. Mark Sneed gets the try. Now gets the chance to convert his own score here. The man that's on loan from Salford. And his 3rd Super League try of the season, and this turning into a real drubbing for Wakefield, who come in here with high hopes, having won the last couple of games. Cass had lost the last 2. Hasn't bothered them one iota. The next game, I think, coming up is against the Widnes Vikings, which is an important game in the context of the top of the table, with the Vikings certainly a challenger for the playoffs. As Sneed arcs it in, curls it in, and puts Castleford 28-0 in front.
There's a danger sometimes when you play against wingers who are big, who are aggressive. You want to kick at the ball behind them to make it difficult for them to play on the front foot. And when they do that, and if Justin Carney catches that ball like he did, he's only going to be direct, he's only going to be strong. And the balance that which Castleford play with, men pushing up in support, they never know when they're beaten, they throw the ball around, they are classy Cass. And Darryl Powell has given the confidence to go out there and play, whether the ball is on either side, straight up from the ruck. But if I was Richard Agard, I'd be saying, do not kick that ball to Justin Carney. Get it to the other side.
This is effectively the halfway point of the Super League season. And if Castleford are in 3rd spot, halfway through, you cannot sit there and say that they can't challenge for the grand final. They're in the quarterfinals of the Challenge Cup. Oh, right, they've got a tough draw away at Wigan, but that would be the first Wembley appearance perhaps since '92. There's a chance that Castleford can get some silverware in the cabinet this season.
I really believe that this game, this Magic Weekend, is a psychologically significant round. Okay, you want to get 2 competition points, but you've played at a neutral venue in Manchester, not far from where they hand out the big prize. And to come up with a good performance and a strong win, well, I think that sets up the second half of the season and makes Castleford a real contender.
Indeed, there are very few bigger and better stadiums than the magnificent Etihad Stadium, Manchester, but Old Trafford, Manchester and Wembley would probably be 2 of them, and they're 2 venues that are very much on the must-visit list for Castleford Tigers this year. This is a remarkable sporting success story. They were a team that was tipped to be down the bottom end of the table. They were rock bottom when Darryl Powell arrived. It's an extraordinary turn.
Well, don't forget, the club's been relegated twice within the last decade. To have bounced back, survived. They don't have the financial strength or depth of some of the other teams in the competition. and yet really there's no evidence of that the way they've played. I think one of the advantages Darryl Powell's had in his playing career was the fact that he played in a variety of different positions, most of them in the back line, once or twice at loose forward, and I think that that's given him a general knowledge of how to play in so many positions. He seems to have transferred that confidence and awareness to so many of his team.
Well, Danny Kermond trying to inspire some of his teammates, saying this is how you tackle Justin Carney.
I'll tell you what, he's put him on the seat of his pants here, because Carney, and you can just see in the corner of your screen there, is down on his haunches.
Well, you've got to meet fire with fire, Rod.
Another kamikaze run from the cannonball, and he went into 3 of them, and this time, for once, Carney came off second best.
Well, Justin Carney, when he gets that ball, he just picks one man out. He's not trying to sidestep anybody. And because Danny Kermond has come from the side, he's not seeing where the big man is. Good feet.
Good offload. Tremendous stuff here. It's Millington. Millington went alone. Tansey says, what are you doing, man? Give me the ball. It was a walk-in. May still be a try on this left-hand side if they can shift it. Must be here. Shenton. Carney strolls over the line. He gets his second. He gets his second for the Tigers. Easy, they chant, and it simply was, because it was just offload, offload, offload. As simple as that.
Well, I think Grant Millington's tipped Justin Carney to be the top try scorer at Castleford when he gets to the end of the season. He certainly held up that score for one more play, and it allowed Justin Carney to add to his prolific try-scoring record. They're splitting them in the middle, they're splitting them out wide. It seems however they want to do it, they're capable of breaking through Wakefield's defence. Nice bit of footwork, then the offload. Millington, well, he's got Tansey almost waiting, but he holds on for one more play. Even then, there's enough composure and patience here for Finn to get the ball wide to Sneed, Shenton, and it's a simple walk-in.
We normally talk about outside backs with good footwork, but what about the footwork from Lee Jewett? And then again, as soon as they know that Wakefield are slow retreating, they're all trying to find the answers to those questions in the middle of the park. The ball goes wide, and Justin Carney, well, he's having a field day. Good surface and a good try.
Well, Justin Carney gets his 12th Super League try of the season, puts him within touching distance of Tommy Makinson, who's on 14. Makinson has scored in 9 consecutive Super League matches, looking to make it 10 on the spin. Makinson against Warrington later today, which would be one away from the record set by Richard Horn of Hull FC. 11 consecutive try-scoring matches, astonishing. But Carney with 12 now in a top performance from the Tigers. Now Sneed, can he conjure up another kick from the sideline? From left of the post he'll kick front on, from right of the post he'll give it the full pirouette. Can he arc it in again? Goodness me, he has.
That's why Millington kept hold of the ball. He didn't want the easy kick for the try under the post. He does have Justin Carney in his fantasy side as well, I think, so those extra points should have helped. But what a goal kick. That's fantastic, isn't it? He's shown today, though, that he's not just a goal kicker. Passer, runner with the ball. And I think now the important fact to have a player with that sort of kicking accuracy for a team that wants to be in the top 4 at the end of the season shows, well, he could very much say his extra kicks throughout the second half of this season might be good enough to get them to Old Trafford.
Kick-off goes deep. And now a question of how many the Tigers can pile on in these final. I mean, you never know, this points difference could be very, very useful. They're racked up another 34 points to go through the 400 barrier. That's 410 they've scored in this Super League season. That makes them the most prolific point scorers in the competition. They've gone past Wigan and they've gone past St Helens. Wigan do have a game in hand, but they're racking up all manner of points this season, Castleford. They're playing some super stuff, and another 6 tries this afternoon.
He can score some points, but I'm sure what will be pleasing Darryl Powell is the big fat 0 next to Wakefield's name. Wakefield would have turned up here with full of confidence going in after the win last week against Widnes, but unfortunately for them, it's just not been their day. They're getting beat all over the park, up front, in the middle, and they just can't get hold of this game at all.
Phil Clark will be A little bit disappointed with that. For the first time they've got out of 10 metres, I think, in the last time they've had a set of 6. In terms of their kicking game's been so accurate. That's a great result, 12 metre. I'm not saying that's a bad kick. Just think about all their tries. Apart, they've come down clinically. The reason they are keeping them to nil is they're really keeping the foot on the throat of Wakefield. Every time they've scored a try, and they've done it here, they've forced a turnover. This is what they've done. They've returned the kick deep. Wakefield feel under pressure, come up with an error, and they're earning their points that way.
It's Mariano, who signed a new contract at Castleford early this week, snaffling that one up. Finn. Audacious offload is picked up by Riley. Now, has he got the gas? I don't think he has. Can't get away from Liam Finn, the man on loan from Warrington Wolves. He is pacey, Riley. Squirmed out of 2 tackles. Wasn't held, says James Child. Play on the call.
How many Castleford players got back? There were 6 players then that got back behind the ball to make that tackle then. That's incredible. We're 55 minutes into the game, yet they're still hunting back as a team.
Syker. Samet had to stretch to collect that. Kermond, who got that clattering blow to the face in the first half, and is back out there battling away, despite the fact they're 34-0 adrift, which would be questionable at best. It might be best to get him back in the changing room and rest him for games later on in the season. But anyway, he's battling away, and so are Wakefield. They're right on the try line. They've got a couple of tackles left. Can they break their duck as we move into the 56th minute of this match? Syker just flicked in a little pass. There wasn't enough space. There wasn't anywhere to go whatsoever. Godinay went himself, managed to offload, and a simple try at long last. Nick Scruton gets the reward for some hard work, gets over the line. Not much to celebrate, but they are at least on the scoreboard.
Well, we said keeping the ball alive was perhaps their only hope, because Castleford's defence has been suffocating. You know, when Castleford attempted to attack wide on the right, Haraki tips the ball over the top, but it rarely intercepts. And by the time he gets to the halfway line, 20 metres further on, Finland and teammates are already all around him. They hold him up, pull him down, and at the end of this set, really, I suppose it was inevitable at some point. Peter Godney's energy and drive, he's fresh on the field, he's kept the ball alive. Jewett holds him up initially, but he wriggles out of that, flicks it back to Scruton. He walks over the line for an almost embarrassing first points.
You didn't feel points were going to come from an offload. It was a good effort from Godinay. They were hurting their cast. They really were. They were tired. They got back 100 metres off the Haraki offload. They'd done a decent job throughout that set. It was the 5th tackle, so they were looking to guard the kick, and the middle just loosened that slight bit that was enough to get the offload away from Godinay, and points came.
Well, from one former Bradford Bull to another, Scruton to Jared Samet, who looks to turn that 4 into 6. Wakefield, regardless of whether they lose or not here, will end this match 8 points above the relegation zone. That may change because Bradford are up next. They're playing Huddersfield. They could close to within 6 of Wakefield, who have still got to play London and Bradford, and I think they'd be pretty confident if they beat Bradford and London. That would give them 12 points, and that would make them secure in Super League for next season.
I think so, yeah. I think you're right with that, aren't you? Well, there's a celebration on a Sunday. Praise the Lord. They finally got over the line.
Smell like the nun at my local church. You know, well done to Wakefield, not throwing the towel in. The overchase from Jordan Tanzi on the line presented the big hole for the big man here, Nick Scruton, to score the try.
Well, already on the roll of honour in the 2014 Magic Weekend, Catalan Dragons, Widnes Vikings, Holkinster Rovers and the Wigan Warriors. Looks so the Castleford Tigers will be added to that list. Coming up next, Huddersfield versus Bradford, and then the curtain will come down when Warrington face St Helens. And ironically enough, the curtain went up with Warrington versus St Helens at the start of this Super League season on a rather cold February night at the Halliwell Jones when Saints took the Wolves to the cleaners. Will there be revenge for Tony Smith's team in the final match?
You can't imagine there'll be a 30-point gap between those teams when we get to the end of this Magic Weekend. Is it a kick that's rolled too far? It has gone over the dead ball line, but maybe Wakefield will be relieved to be at this end of the field for a change.
Well, sun has gone in just a little bit here in Manchester. A little cooler climate on this Sunday afternoon. It was baking hot yesterday. That will make life a little easier for the players. The ball goes loose. It's a knock-on.
Oh, I'm not so sure there, Rod.
Well, neither is Kirk Dixon. Four-try hero of the match last season.
Yeah, let's have a little look here. There's hands in there. Is it a left hand from Peter Godinette. Kurt Dixon furious with that decision from the referee, James Child.
Paul Grundle on the far side actually gave that call. He had the clear view into the incident, so that it was James Child took the advice rather than making the decision, I think.
Well, Wakefield get the scrum. Godinette spins it out to Sykes. Got one back through Nick Scruton. Will one bring two? Will two bring hope for the Wakefield Wildcats? So the most unlikely fight back. Danny Kermon trying to shrug off his opposite number, the Castleford captain, Michael Shenton. Godinette has added a little bit of spark and buzz to things since coming onto the field. The little New Zealander got to within 3 or 4 metres there with a darting run. Collis. Daniel Smith. Nowhere to go there. Nowhere whatsoever to go there. Just hasn't been the same pace about Wakefield's attack as there has, or snap that Castleford have had, and that has been one of the big differences. Now there's something coming here from Samet. Jared Samet going close to the line. I'll tell you what, Jake Webster's done well to manhandle him back into the field and play, and Samet must be thinking now, should he have let the pass go? He didn't. That's a shocker. Sykes gets his left boot to the ball, having taken a very high snap pass, and that's plucked out the air by Shenton.
Well, Castleford's defence, whether they've been on or close to their own try line, has been equally as impressive as their attack in this game. You know, there's so much goes on in a match that you tend to only focus and remember the tries that were scored. But if you think about the tries that were saved, I think they've also been as good.
I agree with that, and I think the other thing you've got to realise, I know the scoreboard is, you know, 34-6 dominant their way, but they're hurting out there. They're physically under pressure. They've got to make their extra efforts out there. It's not a given, but they're prepared to do it. They're prepared to knuckle in no matter what the scoreboard, and that's what does count when you get to those back of the season games. The habits are inside you under any conditions.
Good hand, Shenton. Further wide to Carney. He's off to the races. He won't mind running over. Jared Samet offloads inside to Sneed, and Sneed scores. Sneed gets his second try of the match. This time he hands on. Carney hands it on to Sneed, returns the favour from previously in the match. They both now have 2 tries, and the half-back is over the line again.
You've got to credit Justin Carney. Justin Carney had took the play 2 players previous, then he gets reset on the wing because he knows that the ball is going to come to him. You've got to play with that shape. Coaches will talk about that all of the time. And Mark Sneed, as all good half-backs do, you've got to make sure when you pass the ball, you don't switch off. You've got to keep playing on that front foot, and they do that. And again, it's all about the numbers game. Carney does enough, he draws the fullback, passes the ball to Sneed, and it just looks too simple, Tony.
They do keep coming up with the numbers. I love that call at the end there. You know, they've got the numbers inside and out. That's why they keep giving this energy to each other. It was interesting at the top of the show, Eddie Hemmings asked Jamie Peacock who might score a hat-trick today, and the first name that came out of his hat was Justin Carney. He's on 2, 20 minutes to go. Jamie Peacock might make a hero of himself as a as a pundit to open the day today.
It could be Sneed for the hat-trick first. He's on 2 as well now as Carney, and Sneed looks to take his points tally in this match to 20. Kicking at a remarkable rate, 83%. That's right up with the best goal kickers in any code of rugby anywhere in the world.
Well, they're simply making it look easy at the moment, aren't they? You know, these 2 sides on paper, there isn't a massive difference, but at the moment the culture, they are totally in the zone. The culture taking place at Castleford has carried them into this zone, and oh, there's one that's missed. That fatigue or concentration.
Well, he didn't get the arc quite right. It's Jonathan Thurston-ish in his style. They're setting it always outside the post and drawing it in, and he didn't quite get that one right.
Well,
Got this right though, didn't he?
Oh, he did, didn't he? Quite sure the pass was just timed here, but they're cutting them apart in the middle. They've split through them. Out wide they have. One of those days that Wakefield and the supporters will totally want to forget. Wipe this from the records.
Heads towards the song line. It won't get there though. It's claimed by Dixon, who's had a very quiet day here. As we mentioned earlier, 4 tries last year at the Magic, equaling Castleford's record for tries in one match by an individual. Wayne Price and Randy Chase hold it jointly with Kirk Dixon, but most of the action has been down the left flank rather than the right. Castleford record win, or best win this season, 54-6 at the London Broncos in the Super League, that is. They've had a couple of big cup wins too, against Batley and Sheffield, and 60-16 against Sheffield. So they're moving into that kind of territory where they could post something that's best of the year. Well, especially if they go through like this. Jamie Ellis has just shrugged off a couple of challenges. He slipped as he got away. Final tackle with Wakefield again being undressed at the back by the Tigers. And now there's Finn, Haraki, back to Finn. Some champagne stuff here. Is it going to come out the back door? It does come out the back door this time from Scott Wheeldon. They keep it going.
Ellis,
and in the end, Ellis hunts Chris Riley down and forces the dropout. Well, there was some champagne stuff, there was some fancy dance stuff from Castleford. Didn't quite come off, but they get second prize.
They can appear to do no wrong at the moment, don't they? Wherever they pass the ball, keep it alive. It's Ellis who sets off, bounces up and then plays the ball quickly, but he chips over the top, rolls nicely into the corner, and he traps the side for another 6 players. And it'll be interesting to see what set plays they put on here, how with Mark Sneed dictates where the ball goes.
Yeah, the other interesting thing about that set, Finn, don't forget there was a kick-off set. So we said right from the start, they've been burying them right back down there. They'll drive themselves into position. I think they'll go from one side of the field and come sweeping back to the other side here. They seem to be playing with a lot of wits at the back end of this of their set plays.
Before they go wide, what they do get is a very good go forward. They play off the back of that aggressive go forward, whether it be Lee Jewett or whether it be Lynch here or Wheeldon who gets this ball.
Well, what have they got for us now, Castleford Tigers, and what have Wakefield got, perhaps more importantly, in defence, because they look like they're on their last legs, they're hanging on, they're very flaky. Castleford are making tackle busts, they're making line breaks, and you just feel that they've got the firepower, they've got the finishing power, they've got the composure to post points here. 15 metres out as Jamie Ellis comes in to direct the traffic. This time it will be a penalty to Castleford.
Well, it's frustration.
Mariano applauds.
It's frustration from Danny Kerman. He just raises his knee. You can see here he gets up at first marker. He's trying to slow Castleford down. Gives that little penalty away. Again, it's more pressure though, Rod.
Scott Wheeldon rumbles forward. Ellis looking to make an impact. Liam Finn to Jordan Tansey. Tansey stepping and hopping and skipping but not going anywhere, and now Jake Webster comes in. Webster to Finn. Finn running across the line. Now coming to this near side where he knows Mark Sneed is waiting. Mariano! Frankie Mariano! Goes through some paper-thin tackling, and Mariano has signed a new contract at Castleford Tigers. The ex-Wakefield man will have enjoyed that.
Well, they've made it look easy for so much of this match. You know, to extend on the point you made, Rod, earlier, a lot of these players were more or less released by other clubs. They've not particularly been wanted, and yet the sign of a great coach is one who can get them to play to their full potential, which Darryl Powell appears to do right now. Just look at the nice delayed pass there by Mark Sneed. Puts it on a plate, doesn't he, for Frankie Mariano, who brings it round to make the kick easier and easier. And the way that they've exploited any of the tiny holes here, the timing of the play is outstanding. They've done what they had to do to defend, and then boy, oh boy, have they enjoyed it when they've had to attack.
Hasn't he had a wow of a game, Mark Sneed? He said he's on 2 tries. This is his offload. A beautiful, subtle touch there. He's got a runaway tries and support tries. He's set up tries. His kicking game's been amazing. His goal kicking's been outstanding. He's an outstanding game from him.
Yeah, and I'd imagine that somewhere in the northwest, the Dr. Kukas is scratching his head, thinking, why did we let him go? And on a season-long loan as well. It wasn't a month-by-month. They can't get him back.
It's incredible, isn't it? To lose someone like Mark Sneed, they could do with him now, Rod.
I guess the flip side of it is they've seen him play a full season inside of the Super League. They've seen his ability. They were backing Tim Smith at the time, and they're thinking this is a guy we can invest some time in. They get him back and make the most out of him next year.
He might know the way to Old Trafford by the time he gets back to Salford. Do you know, if any of the Castleford supporters were thinking of any holiday plans in September or early October, they might need to reconsider them, because the way they've played today, I know Wakefield haven't been near the best and they're not aside in the top half of the table, but on the evidence we've seen here on a big stage in Manchester, the Tigers look the real deal. They could give anybody a game if they played as well as this.
So good, that boy. couple of years ago, Wakefield had a little dalliance with the playoffs, didn't they? They finished 8th. They got knocked out by the Leeds Rhinos, had a terrific run to get into the playoffs. Well, this looks like being a year for the Tigers. Their best ever finish in Super League is 5th. They look a pretty good bet to finish above that this year, and certainly somewhere in the top 8, that's for sure.
They've got good generals, they've got good workhorses, they've got speed out wide, and they've got the ability to read games like this, man. Look at this.
Darryl Clark, well, he offloaded it. It's ended up in Wakefield hands. It's ended in the hands of Harry Syker. The competition has been crying out for a team like Castleford, hasn't it, to unleash itself. And Huddersfield were fantastic last year, but Castleford are up the top of the league, and they're playing such vibrant stuff and scoring such terrific tries. This is what they've been crying out for, an underdog that's punching so far above its weight.
They're absolutely brilliant. They've conceded 1 try, and what they have got, they've got 2 half-backs who go at the line. They terrify the big fellas in the middle, and they've got a hooker who has got pace to burn. Then you can bring on Jamie Ellis. They really mix those players up. You never know what you're going to get from them.
Some stylish stuff from Castleford this afternoon. Wakefield on the wrong end of it, but looking to at least post some more points here. The solitary try came from Nick Scruton, but they have conceded 8 at the other end. That's how lopsided it's been. Syker goes high. Dixon waits and says, that's easy for me, and looks to set out. And again, this is a team winning comfortably, and with 11 minutes left, are looking to get a quick restart. He's not looking to get a quick restart at all, is he? He's looking for a nap in the sun, probably an ice cream. Well, it has been an afternoon to sit back and relax as a Castleford Tigers fan, because they've dominated virtually from the word go. They've scored some brilliant tries. Carney and Sneed have been devastating, and it's been a super show from Darryl Powell's team.
And I feel sorry for Richard Agar. You look at the players that he's lost from last year: Justin Paul, Kylie Moore, Paul Layton, the whole front row, plus the master and the general, Tim Smith. It's been very difficult for the Wakefield club.
Well, the points against in the Super League match this season for Wakefield going past 40 for the 5th time. That has been their problem. They've won 4. They will have lost 9 after this. They've still got that buffer clear of the drop zone, though. That's the key thing they'll take away. Sneed hoists it high, collected by the tallest man on the paddock.
And inside that 10-metre again for they've done it. They've taken a 20. Now, Dixon caught the ball in his own in goal. They marched the ball. Riley's away.
Oh, look at this from Chris Riley. Oh, brilliant pass, brilliant hands. Now Sykes got the legs. Oh, weaving run. He's done Webster up like a kipper. He's gone round in circles. He tied Jake Webster up in knots. Wonderful stuff from Sykes. He scored a try that won the game at Widnes last week. That won't win anything, but it was a wonderful, wonderful try.
It's a great try to show your grandchildren. Just don't tell them about the final result in this game. It's a great venue. It's a spectacular try here. Almost the length of the field effort. Chris Riley gets out of the action half-back, scampers between a few defenders, and then just keeps the arms free. Speculative offload to Sykes, who then goes first to the left, then to the right. Referee's not far behind if he needs to offload to him, but he's 4 more points. And at the end, maybe something to laugh about on the way home for Paul Sykes, because very little has been enjoyable from a Wakefield perspective today, but he will eventually enjoy the fact that he's still got the speed to score those sort of tries.
Corkscrew run from Paul Sykes. Well, as I said, it won't mean as much as the late show at Widnes last week, which won the game and turned a point into 2. Well, you've got to give them credit, because they've kept plugging away. He's supporting there with 9 minutes to go in a lost cause. It would be easy to just say, I can't be bothered to keep up with Riley. I'll just wait for him to get tackled and see what happens. So fair play to him.
Well, all the neutrals were supporting Paul Sykes there, hoping that he'd get there and score the try, but good play from Chris Riley. I say before, you can't really question the attitude of some of the players. You can just question maybe some of the execution of some of the players, but players will never give in. The full-time professionals, and on Wakefield, it's just not been their day.
Samet looking to turn the 4 into 6, which he does with the minimum of fuss. 44-12, Castleford, 8 minutes to go. They're still heading to 3rd in the Super League table, and Wakefield will be no doubt watching a little anxiously to see what Bradford do, who are just below them in the table, or the team below them in the table, 8 points behind them when Bradford play Huddersfield next up.
Yeah, we've got to remember, we're not even halfway through this competition. After this round, we go to the final time. Everyone's played each other once, Then we go into the second half of the season. I know all clubs down the bottom, obviously I know London well. They've got real hopes for the real strength and real vision for what will happen at the end of the season. As you know, in all these fights, and it's been spoken about before this season because there's 2 relegation spots, so it's become a real focus point of this season. There's going to be so many twists and turns, so many magic moments, so many great stories coming out of the season. It always does, and they're all in front of us.
Well, you've got to believe, haven't you? If you have no belief, you have nothing. Let's go down to the sideline and see what Graham Beecroft has for us. Graham.
Yeah, just an interesting little scenario developed down here a few minutes ago. The 2 players have been off the field for quite some time. Paul McShane has been off. He's got a rib injury, put ice on his ribs, and he's been sitting on the bench. And also off the field for quite some time, Richard Morton. Now, I think they were thinking, listen, we've got important games coming up, particularly a couple coming up against teams down and around them in the next few weeks. We'll probably keep our powder dry to a certain extent, but they've had to change their tactics, I think, because Scott Anderson was injured, and the physio, I think, was saying, listen, you need to get him off the field, because he's not come off the field, he's going to put an injury even worse than it is at the moment. So they brought Richard Moore on, albeit slightly reluctantly, I think, Rod.
Thanks, Graham. Yeah, as Graham was alluding to there, a couple of games coming up for Wakefield, which are absolutely pivotal. They go to Odsal on the 1st of June to play Bradford, and then they host the London Broncos on the 13th of June, which are the 2 games that they will be looking at and thinking if we win both of those, then we'll be playing Super League in 2015.
Well, Nick Scruton a bit groggy, got taken off the ball. This is why the penalty's been awarded by Lee Jewett. He just saw the big man who stepped inside. He took the focus off the ball carrier and looked at that man directly in the eye and just put a shot on him. He expected him to get the pass.
Clock ticks down, 7 minutes left, just a shade under in point of fact, as Wakefield looked to have the better of the final 10 minutes. That tried from Sykes, scored from the Riley break.
They've been in this game for the last 15 minutes, haven't they, Rob?
They have. Richard Moore looking for more. Literally, 3 Castleford Tigers swallow him up. Lee Jewett on his debut there, the former Salford star. Now, Peter Godinay, and he was unlucky, slipped, otherwise Mariano wouldn't have made the tackle.
Push up with him.
Syker, stuttering run. Last tackle for the Wildcats. Can they get a 3rd try on the board here? Virtually at the last knocking. Sykes, who got the 2nd try. That goes behind everybody. It will be collected by Mathers, who grubbers forward. It's picked up beautifully by Sneed, one of the outstanding performers on the afternoon.
I think one of the impressive aspects of Castleford's play is that they've had players in the right position to take those kicks. Some of the kicks weren't great, but the ones that have had any danger, any element of surprise or risk, they've had a player to cover them, and I think that's a great skill that they've got themselves out of trouble with.
It's too much of a coincidence to be luck, that, isn't it? That's your point. It's they've been very clinical. Everything they've gone about, they know what they're doing, they know their roles. They've been very responsible to them. They've really enjoyed their afternoon.
Last year, Danny Kerman of Wakefield was the beard to be feared, and Craig Hooby joining the Hirsute Super League club, and that's knocked into touch from the penalty, so Castleford start moving forward again.
The biggest stat from this game is 14 breaks that Castleford have made to just 4, and when they've made those breaks, they've scored tries on the back of it.
James Child, the referee, tells them to get on with it, and Darryl Clark does just that. Andy Lynch driving forward. It's amazing to think that he made his Super League debut back last century for Castleford, and he's been around a bit since then, all over the place, in Bradford and Hull. Sneed, and there is Hooby again. Godinay giving a lot of weight and height and reach away to Hooby, but still took him down. Darryl Clark. Now Ellis, Jamie Ellis spotting half a gap, but Richard Moore closed the door in his face very, very quickly. A couple of tackles left in this sequence for the Tigers. Webster stepping forward, looking for Clark. Clark to Holmes. Holmes back to Webster. Webster, well, very close to the touchline, managed to keep the ball in play, and Oliver Holmes almost got free. Clark, who started the scoring early on in the piece for Wakefield Wildcats, wrap him up and drag him towards the touchline. He's not in touch. Last tackle for the Tigers. Moore gets to his feet for Wakefield. Ellis gets away from one challenge. Doing well once more is Mark Sneed, knocked down by Smith. Knock on given. They don't like it, Castleford, but it is a knock on. Sneed questions it.
There's much effort there in Wakefield's at defence as perhaps we've seen all game. They got up so quickly, to cut down the time that Castleford had with the ball. Kickers under pressure, players harassed from the inside and the out. Maybe Daniel Smith did get his hand to it, but the referee said no. That's Wakefield's turnover, the last tackle. And I suppose the only hope now for Richard Egg and his team is that they can continue to do in the next game what they've done in the last 20 minutes of this match.
Well, the fifth magic meeting between the two sides will be the third win in that sequence for Castleford. Wakefield have also won 2. The matches have always produced plenty of points, and this has been no exception. The problem for the Wildcats is that the Tigers have got the overwhelming share of the points. A pass that went over Sammett's head, it's collected by Kermond, who must have been delighted to receive that, with Michael Shenton right on top of him, and now Jared Sammet has spilled it forward.
That, to me, Rod, that passage of play has been the difference between both sides. When you looked at the half-back, I think it was Syker who was going at the line. He was looking for someone to play short from him, but even out the back, there was nobody there. They were all anticipating the play to be much deeper. You've got to push up in support, and that's why Castleford, on the other hand, have been very good.
And players, I think, glad of a little bit of a breather, which the knock-on from Sammet afforded them. As we move into the closing stages of the first game of the second day of this Magic Weekend 2014, Huddersfield Giants and Bradford Bulls wait in the wings for their opportunity to strut their stuff on the big stage, and then after that, St Helens with a chance of going back to the Super League Summit if they can defeat the Warrington Wolves.
Phil, my memory's not what it used to be. Who did you say you tipped at the beginning of the game?
I thought there'd be an upset, and it's me who's upset, isn't it? I thought Wakefield were going to continue that fine run. 2 wins in the last 2 games, but completely outplayed here, and as I've said throughout this match, I think Castleford are the real deal. They've got a chance of doing something special this year.
Well, even a broken clock will be right twice today. That's more than can be said for Phil Clark. Mark Sneed finds Andy Lynch, still driving forward with only a couple of minutes left. Tansey, obstruction given by James Towle. Dixon thought he was going to have a chance to score in the corner where he scored so spectacularly last year, but Darryl Powell will be a contented man with what he's witnessed from his team this afternoon.
Well, there you go. Was it Webster and Holmes that go through, Stuart?
They go through, and he doesn't get outside them before he catches the ball, and that's where the obstructions come. He's run behind his own man.
Inside the final couple of minutes, is there one last chance for Wakefield to have the final say in this match? They've been outgunned, they've been outscored by 8 tries to 2 by their nearest and not so dearest from up the road. It'll be a quiet night in Wakefield tonight, but it might be quite a boisterous one in Cas Vegas.
Just up the road.
Sammet bounces off a couple of challenges from Mariano and now from Hooby as well, but in the end they're going to have too much power for him and drive him into the ground as we move into the final minute of this match. Syker, juggling run, offering more, gets it away, picked up by Webster. Webster bounces off 2 challenges. Godinay makes half a challenge, but racing away is Darryl Clark. He's going to put the full stop on this match. He got the first try of the game, and Darryl Clark has got the last, and underlines Castleford's dominance, and they will hit 50 in this game against the Wildcats if Sneed adds the conversion.
Well, he is the star, isn't it? He's a young cub who's going to have a massive future, whether that's with the Tigers or with another club. Got great speed and just knows the game of rugby league. I think the Tigers supporters are happy. But it is going to end with a ring fight around 50 points. Can't get much better than that against an arch rival, the local derby. They picked the ball up at one end of the field. They've had it turned over very few times at that point, and then with 80 metres to go, I don't think there's a player on the field who could have caught him. Maybe Justin Carney, his own teammate, might be the closest. But he's so quick. Kept fresh for this game. Throws that ball. Somebody gets a ball to collect as a memento of this magic, magic day for them.
It's a cruel game, isn't it? Richard Moore, every time he goes into collision, he's been looking to offload that ball. He offloads it. None of his teammates were expecting it. Jake Webster picks it up, and he knows that he hasn't got the pace, but that man has. He is a very, very big talent, and I agree with you, Phil. He's set for big things.
Well, Darryl Clark becomes the 3rd brace bagger for the Castleford Tigers. Carney and Sneed, and now Clark, 2 apiece as Sneed converts to complete the rout. Last year it was 49-24. This year it's been an even bigger winning margin for the Tigers, who've mauled Wakefield by 50 points to 12. Comprehensive as the scoreline suggests. Run amok, the Castleford Tigers. Outstanding performances from Justin Carney and also from Mark Sneed. They really were the virtuoso performances for the Tigers. Precious little to be pleased about as far as Wakefield concerned. A couple of tries for Scruton and Sykes, but the end of their mini run of victories has halted that run. 2 wins on the trot against Widnes and Hull for Wakefield. And for Castleford, of course, they snap a 2-game losing streak. They've been beaten by Huddersfield and beaten by Leeds. And there is the man of the match, the man who conducted the orchestra. Mark Sneed is talking to Graham Beecroft.
Thank you very much indeed, Rod. Well, Mark, many congratulations. Let's talk about the team performance first of all. That was impressive.
Yeah, we had to get back to winning after two losses up bounce. The last 2 games were tough games, and this one we're going to be tough, but we've come back quite well.
And clearly the confidence wasn't shattered at all. You still had great belief in yourselves, as you showed here.
Yeah, no doubt. We had still had a lot of confidence, even though we've lost 2, but we just had to carry on and not let it get to us.
A couple of tries for you. In fact, 3 players scored 2 tries on your side. I think that's just an example of the support there is when you go forward, isn't it?
Yeah, it's... us backs can't do anything without the forwards. Our forwards this year have been absolutely outstanding all year from the first game, so a lot of credit goes to them throughout every game.
I lost count of the number of points you scored in total, but it was well over 20. Tell us about your kicking, because this is clearly something you've worked on. Tell us just how hard you've done.
I do quite a lot of kicking during the week. It's just practice, to be fair, just every day having a couple of kicks, not taking it too serious, but a lot of effort goes into it.
Did you mould your style on anybody, or did you just find that was the best way to knock the ball between the sticks?
I just found that was the best way. The weirdest way is usually the best way, so why not?
Thank you very much for joining us. Yes, thank you. Paul Sykes joins us from the losing team Wakefield. Well, a consolation try for you, Paul, but it wasn't going to be your day, clearly.
Yeah, no, we just didn't turn up at the end of the day. You know, we need to take a good look at ourselves, you know, and get back to the drawing board in training, you know. We come off the back of a good win last week, and you know, we just didn't turn up today.
Yes, you had been on a good run. What do you think was the deciding factor? Did they just come over you too quickly? Were they quickly onto you and you couldn't get going and build any momentum?
Yeah, probably. I think, well, they stuck to a game plan. Remember, you know, all credit to Castle, the good side, the top side. I think they just run harder than us, and I think they just wanted it a bit more than us.
Thanks, Paul. Thank you.
Well, they're delighted, the Castleford Tigers, and, well, they might be, because they have just for the first time ever in Super League recorded 50 points against the Wakefield Trinity Wildcats. 50 points to 12. It finished. It's a sorry day for Wakefield, but a brilliant day for Castleford Tigers. 2 apiece for Carney, Sneed and Clark. Tansey, Shenton and Mariano. Sneed kicked 7 goals. As it was said in commentary, arguably the best Salford player knocking around at the moment. And how about it that he plays for the Castleford Tigers? Brian and John look back on all of that now. As you can tell, Brian's got a couple of problems with his microphone, fiddling around and trying to press the on button. We'll be back to it. But just look at this, the Castleford Tigers leaving the field to a standing ovation from their supporters. I think we can go back to Brian Carney. You've pressed the right button now, Brian.
Have you got me now?
Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
I had a great point to make as well. I'm still going to make it. In the world of rugby league, there's better teams than the Castleford Tigers. Indeed, in Super League, there's better teams than the Castleford Tigers. But I'm not sure there's a more attractive side when they're playing at their best than the Castleford Tigers, and they showed us that here today. They've thrilled not only their own fans from the opposite teams, and I think they've thrilled us as well. And one of the main protagonists in that was Mark Sneed, man of the match.
Yeah, man of the match performance from him. Darrell Clark played extremely well as well. What impressed me most about that was that little shot you got right at the end. The fans in the background, the team posing for a picture, and community really at the heart of that club at the moment. First clip then, let's have a look. Here's the man of the match, Mark Sneed. It's a long clip, so bear with us on this one, but I wanted to pick apart a couple of things in this. First of all, not chief among these, but certainly important was this. This isn't a straightforward take for Justin Carney. It's a blind take. He's taking it over his shoulder, but he makes his meters. We spoke about that in game. Now, here's your try scorer. Just very briefly, try scorer is at dummy half. Keep your eye on him. when he gets himself upfield. Kirk Dixon in the middle of the field, he's making himself available, checks his line actually, then puts himself through a hole. Shenton down the bottom of your screen here supporting. Mark Sneed with the ball in hand at the moment, and then the return pass is found to take Sneed over. He got a double. Clark was particularly impressive as well again for me.
That on 47 minutes to take it 28 points to 0. Nick Scruton hit back with a try for the win. Wakefield Trinity Wildcats, but Sneed again, right man on the right spot. They shifted the ball right to left, got it to Carney, and Sneed again. Really instrumental in this, John.
Yeah, and he's making himself a threat in the attacking line. He's just wandering in the back of the line here. Is Sneed, but it's not there. There he is. I shall redo him anyway. Let's move this on because it's not the Castleford attack that I'm going to look at the start of this. It's the Wakefield defence. There's Dean Collis. Now, Dean Collis' opposite man is Michael Shenton, who's in the bottom corner of the thing. I've watched this. He does not pick Michael Shenton up at all visually during this entire play. He's already decided very early on that Mark Sneed is the man he's going to target. Now, rightly or wrongly, that's what he's done, and he's left himself with Harry Seeker inside. He's come across his man and really left it open for Castleford to break down the wing. Carney in full flight, Sneed backing up on the inside. It all looked too easy for very big parts of that second half, Brian.
Sneed man of the match. It could have gone to Darrell Clark. In fact, it could have gone to many Castleford Tigers. What a performance by them. Wakefield Trinity Wildcats with plenty of work to do. Back to you, Eddie.
Well, there they are. They've enjoyed it. They really have. They've enjoyed their moment on the big stage, and who knows what lies ahead of them. As Rod said in commentary, they go to Wigan in the Challenge Cup quarter-finals, and Darrell Powell just might have the sniff of Old Trafford come the end of the season. Huddersfield and Bradford are coming next. That's the second game of day 2 of the Magic Weekend 2014. We've had one blowout. I wonder what's going to happen now.